Plus, you know, for a change, in a sense, I've gotten to play behind a very good football team who plays good offense and good defense.
The good offense is reflected in Bob Chandler, whom you saw seconds ago, and Cliff Branch, whom you see now, and in Raymond Chester, the tight end. So Plunkett is using his weapons, but tonight, his team must stop another great offensive unit because Jim Zorn, the southpaw quarterback, reminds one of Fran Tarkenton in his prime. And he can hit his targets like Sam McCullum right there, like the great Steve Largent. He knows how to make that team go. What a matchup tonight.
Kingdom in Seattle, Washington, and it will be rocking tonight. 64,000 seats have been sold. That is capacity. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football presents the Oakland Raiders against the Seattle Seahawks. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Datsun, who proudly presents the new Datsun Maxima for the luxury-minded who long to be Datsun-driven.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, the great city of the Pacific Northwest. And yes, we believe we've got a great matchup tonight. Why? Critical game, especially for the Oakland Raiders, who, as you look at the standings in the AFC West, must have a victory if they're to retain a game edge over San Diego. Denver very much alive. Seattle not very much alive, but a team good enough to have beaten Houston 26-7. A team with great offense. They can go against anybody, as we've already explained. In the meantime, what about the Oakland Raiders, winners of 5 in a row? This was supposed to be a year of transition. It hasn't been that. It's been a year of victory. Here's the Giffer to tell you why.
Well, first of all, Howard, it really is a warm story. Jim Plunkett, he was written off a couple of years ago. A great background, Heisman Award winner, of course. Stanford in 1970, the first player drafted in 71, Rookie of the Year. 4 good years with New England. And then he was traded for 3 #1 draft picks, a 2, and another football player, Tom Owen, a quarterback, to the San Francisco 49ers. He was to save that franchise. Well, the wheels came off for this young man, and he was released in 1978. Many thought he was through with football. Well, it's been a marvelous story to watch because he took over after the 5th game of the season for the Oakland Raiders this year. And as Howard already has mentioned, he has won 5 games, and he has won it in a very classy style. Oakland, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, and they are threatening heavily to get back into those playoffs once again. And it's been a transition year, but they have a very fine team. They brought in players, key players here and there, and they've turned up with not only a good offensive unit, but they've come up with a tremendous defensive effort. Speaking of efforts, give us an effort.
Very defensive effort. I'd like to talk about Seattle just for a little while, and we might as well stay with Zorn. I think Zorn is the one guy that makes this thing go. At least that's what Oakland tells us. If they can stop Zorn, they can have a good shot here. Zorn's had good luck against them, so has Seattle. They've all played well. And asking some of the coaches, what is it that Zorn's got? They all say the first thing is quickness. He has quickness and an instinctive ability to make things happen. And he's got some guys with him like Steve Largent. One of the things about Steve Largent is he's been coached by Jerry Rome for 8 straight years, so Rome's not dumb. He's going to be calling the plays tonight, too. I think we see some new things happening, some quick breaking, maybe even 4 receivers out there tonight at one time. Frank, are you about ready to get this thing going?
Tom Flores walking the sideline. This is his 2nd season, took over a year ago, following the heavy footsteps of John Madden. And he has his team playing good football. Jack Patera came with the franchise when it began here in 1976. Got off to a super start. The last 2 seasons have been 9-7 for Jack Patera, but this year, well, it just doesn't seem to work for the Seahawks like it has in past years. They have had difficult times. They have played good football. They move the football well. But when it comes down close into the end zone, they have a difficult time getting it in. We're set to go, and this is Jesse Green, a second-year man from Tulsa, dropping deep for the Seahawks. He'll be back there with Will Lewis, number 41. And again, a sellout crowd. They love the Seahawks here in Seattle, and well, they should, because they play exciting football. They do peculiar things at different times. Watch them on 4th down, because they don't always kick. They don't always go for the field goal when they look like they will. Chris Barr kicks off. We're underway. Seattle will have first possession. Jesse Green from his own end zone, and he is met viciously at the 14-yard line. Hustling down there was number 56, Jeff Barnes, and Seattle will start deep in their own territory. Of course, their quarterback, Jim Zorn, Dan Dornick, Jim Jodat, acquired this season from the Los Angeles Rams, the 2 wide receivers. Well, they are special, both of them. They have over 60 receptions between them. There's an offensive line that at times this year has failed young Jim Zorn at quarterback. He has been intercepted 5 times only a week ago, 13 times on the season. That is not the Jim Zorn that we knew in the previous 3 years. 1st and 10, Seattle, 4-6 on the season. They still think they have a chance, however. Zorn immediately to the air, and he fouls out complete. It's to McCullum. And McCullum takes it up close to a 1st down, and will meet the defensive unit. And most of the time they'll be in this 3-4 passing situations. They'll bring in what the man they call the bandit. As they move into a 4-3, there are your linebackers, and the man who has really made a difference defensively is Matt Millen, the rookie from Penn State, filling in for an injured Monty Johnson out for the season. Monty Jackson at the right cornerback is a question mark. He was not expected to start tonight, but he's in there playing with a chronically sore knee at right cornerback. 2nd down, very short yardage, getting the call, and the 1st down is Jim Jodat, and Jodat breaks it out to the 30-yard line. Getting the 1st down, Burgess Owens at safety had to make the stop. There he is, Jodat, who in one game against the Washington Redskins this year gained more than in his years with the Los Angeles Rams. Had 37 attempts in 3 years with the Rams before coming to the Seahawks, and they lost Sherman Smith early in the season. They're fine running back for the season. Jodat has filled in. The 1st down is out at the 32-yard line for Seattle. Largent split to the right, and Zorn rolling, hands off to Dornick. And the big 3-year man out of Washington State over the right side gets a yard and a half. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And defensively, you'll see all kinds of changes for the Oakland Raiders. On a passing down, they like to bring in Willie Jones, number 90, and Cedric Hardman, number 86. They move constantly. They have names for their defense, so they do not get confused. They call it out on the sidelines, and that is the unit that goes in. 2nd and 8. 3 wide receivers. Steve Rabel comes in, replacing the tight end. Rabel, top of your screen, number 83. Largent, McCullum, the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 8. Handoff is Dornick. Dornick, not swift of foot, tries to cut back, gets to the 35, a gain of a yard and a half. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Dornick may not be swift of foot, Frank, but he's swift of mind, because, as you know, he's going to medical school at night. He's an exemplary young man.
Following in the footsteps of brother and dad, who are both doctors. I do find that rather interesting. I like to see that sort of stuff.
A heavy load for Dornick, attending medical school at night, University of Washington. Split up at the top of your screen on 3rd down and 7 is Jesse Green, the 2nd-year man out of Tulsa. McCullum and Largent to the right. And Zorn stepping back into the pocket. Dornick, a fine receiver, out for the 1st down at the 45-yard line. Rod Martin made the stop there.
Zorn can drive you crazy, no question about it.
They've done so far tonight, very briefly, what they haven't been doing too well earlier, and that's protecting. That's a lovely pocket. Stay in that pocket. Zorn is, you know, is known quite a bit for his scrambling, and oftentimes that scrambling occurs when there's no place to stand.
You saw the 4-man front for the Oakland Raiders. They like to go into it on a passing down. The Oakland Raiders leading the entire NFL after 10 games in quarterback sacks and also interceptions. They have 37 sacks, 24 interceptions, the best in the league. On 1st down, Zorn again. McCullum is wide open. And McCullum spins away from Monty Jackson, taken out of bounds down at the 28-yard line.
Really put a good move on Monty Jackson that time. McCullum was wide open. Again, good protection. We'll take a look at it from the quarterback's point of view. End zone look. Steps up. Still awfully hard for me to get used to him. Turn around throwing left-handed. But you'll see Jackson is way back. Sam McCullum made a good move to the inside after he caught the ball. Picked up an extra 6, 7, 8 yards.
And credit a good block by Jim Jodat against a blitzing Ted Hendricks. It made the play. At the 28-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. The two tight ends are in now. Sawyer 81, Bell 82. Bell in motion. Jodat, or rather Dornick, and spins inside the 25, down around the 23-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
There are teams for teams and horses for courses. That's an old saying. What you have to remember is that the Seahawks have not lost to the Oakland Raiders here in the Dome. Or put another way, the Raiders have not beaten the Seahawks in the Dome.
Comes out the same way either way, doesn't it?
But they did thrash them in Oakland 3 weeks ago. 2nd 7. Reading the defense, tries to change it off, and lunging offside is Lewis Bullard, the left tackle.
He said, I just waited long as I could, and I had to move. That's it. A little bit delayed count there. Saw some movement in the defensive setup. I think the Seahawks are expecting Oakland.
Offense number 72, ball start.
He saw the same thing you did, Frank. I think they're expecting to get a little pressure from the defense tonight. And if they do, they may go to the 4 wide receiver offense.
4 changes defensively for Oakland, as it is now 2nd down and 11.
And they're the 4 wide receivers.
Single setback, Jodat.
And Ted Hendricks called timeout. He said, wait a minute, that thing doesn't work. We haven't seen those 4 guys out here before.
Yes, again, we're seeing football as it becomes more and more specialized. The Raiders caught with that 4 wide receiver offense by Seattle. Rather than risking the play, they did not have the coverage they wanted, so they called timeout. They move over to the sidelines, and you'll see different personnel when we come back to the Kingdome in Seattle, with Seattle a 2nd down and 11. Seattle, Washington, where they have sold for the season 59,000 season tickets. They held out 5,000 for each game. Those were snapped up within just a matter of hours when they were released for sale. 2nd down and 11 for Seattle. Again, the 4 wide receivers. Jodat single setback, and Zorn will put it up in the air. And Zorn trying to time it out with Jesse Green. He was under pressure, and Otis McKinney was back there defensively for the Oakland Raiders. And Otis McKinney, a former Giant, has performed admirably in the prevent defense. They call him the pirate back there when he comes in defensively, and he has moved around. 3 interceptions for this man who formerly was a number 2 Giant draft pick in 1978. The Oakland Raiders are like that. You could call it the reclamation franchise.
Yet it's not really that, Frank. A point I'd like to develop in a moment.
3rd down and 11. Dornick again, single setback. Again, the 4 wide receivers, Jesse Green, McCullum, Largent, and Rabel. Zorn hangs it high. Intended for McCullum, and again, Zorn fighting the pressure, gets it off. It'll be 4th down.
Always interesting to see. Did you have a point?
No, go ahead.
Well, it's just interesting to see when you see an unusual offensive formation how that defense tries to counter it. And what Oakland did both times when they saw the 4 wide end receiver was they sent 2 additional linebackers. They sent 2 linebackers, both Hendricks and Rod Martin. So they're going to try to put pressure on Zorn. He was trying to time it out, just didn't quite have it.
Efren Herrera will try a 46-yard field goal. His long of the season is 50 yards. And if this young man wanted to run for mayor in Seattle, he would give the present mayor a contest. They love him here. On its way. And just about a half a yard short is Efren Herrera. And so it'll be first possession for the Oakland Raiders. The ball at their own 28-yard line. Efren Herrera moves over, disappointed. He has the distance. However, that was short. We'll be back with 10:24 remaining in the first quarter. Takes over for the Oakland Raiders offense. This man has generated 5 consecutive victories for the Oakland Raiders, taking over after the 5th game when Danny Pastorini was hurt. He has a 1st and 10. The ball at the 28-yard line. And It's off to Mark Van Eegen. And Mark Van Eegen over the 30, out close to the 32, a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Van Eegen making his 99th consecutive appearance in an Oakland Raider uniform. They have a lot of people like that out on the wide flanks. The 2 receivers have 13 touchdowns between them, Bob Chandler and Cliff Branch. Gene Upshaw making his 197th consecutive start at left guard. They're big. They're huge, as a matter of fact, this Oakland Raider offensive line. 2nd down, 7. Branch left, Chandler right. Van Eegen rolling on the right side and out over the 35, close to the 36-yard line for a pickup of 4. It'll be 3rd down and 2, and let's meet the defensive unit of the Seattle Seahawks. A couple of youngsters in the middle. And, of course, the man that has performed so well in his rookie year, Jacob Green, a defensive left end. Linebackers, perhaps somewhat questionable, but not Michael Jackson, the 2nd-year man who played his college football right here at the University of Washington, number 55. 3rd down, 2. Ball at the 36-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Kenny King, the setback. And King gets the toss, turns it on, gets out over the 40-yard line. Oakland 1st down.
Well, that's the man that the Oakland organization wanted, because he gives them a dimension they were sadly lacking. He gives them the outside speed you just saw. The point I wanted to make earlier, Frank, if I may, was when as you look at Kenny, when you talked about so many of them being reclamation projects, they are, but by design. The reclamation projects, Matusak, Hartman, Plunkett, Campbell, Owens, all 1st-round draft choices. So they had something to begin with, and maybe there's not that much reclamation involved. Frank?
They certainly have put it together. On 1st and 10, Plunkett hides the ball. It's in trouble and loses the football, and I believe the Raider is on top.
You can almost hear him say whoops from up here, and whoops is not a good word.
I've heard worse.
Whoops.
And coming up with the football is Gene Upshaw. Let's watch as Plunkett loses the handle.
He just was trying to move up to the inside, didn't quite tuck it in there quick enough. Frank, that was that Robert Hardy, I believe, that came in and knocked it out of his hand, and Upshaw, old Gene Upshaw from Robstown, Texas, was right there to fall on it.
2nd down, 14. Out to the right goes Chandler with his 32 receptions for the year. Top of your screen. Cliff Branch split to the left, and the flag is down.
Got him 5. He's working with it. Wow.
Fires over the middle to Van Eegen. Gets out to the 40-yard line. You saw a movement, however, at the line of scrimmage. Beautiful facility here, the King Dome. No frills, if you will. They built it for some $83 million.
It's great for football, Giff. For baseball, a different thing. Home runs easy to come by, and yet you could hit one that would have gone 450 feet. It can hit one of the hanging towers and thus become a single. Bob Watson of the Yankees had that happen to him.
Number 77, offside.
I was told.
2nd down.
I was told maybe by the mayor, is this thing paid for? Or it pays for itself? The King Dome, maybe that was just some basic propaganda, but it sounds good to me.
No, the governor-elect sponsored it.
Hey. Oh, what can I say?
Penalty, Bill Gregory offside, Seattle. 2nd down and 9. Chandler goes right. Jim Plunkett puts Branch out to the left. Motion Van Eegen. Slow draw, goes to King. He looks it over and gets out to the 45-yard line. A gain of about 2. It will be 3rd down and 7. Keith Butler, the right side linebacker for Seattle, makes the stop. And we'll see some changing now for the Seattle Seahawks as they bring in their prevent man, Vic Minor, a rookie out of Northeast Louisiana. 3rd down, 7. Changes also now for Oakland. Arthur Whittington comes in. Little man from SMU. He wears number 22. And Chandler goes right, where he works against Kerry Justin out there defensively for Seattle. Cliff Branch split to the left. The tight end, of course, Raymond Chester, number 88. Pressure on Plunkett, and he gets away. Plunkett, down he goes. And there's a scramble for the ball, and Seattle has the football. Plunkett up hard, drops the football, and coming up with it is Robert Hardy.
I think Jim had better stop scrambling. That's twice he's tried it, and twice he's dropped the football.
It seemed like to me that somewhere about right in here. He says, gosh, I'm wide open, but I really don't want to run with this thing. So you can see he's carrying it. He hasn't been running with it very often. Had that ball out in his right hand. Just didn't carry it, didn't tuck it away, and Hardy comes in at the right time, picked it up.
Michael Jackson, whom we spoke of a moment ago, jarred it loose, and Hardy came up with it. Good field position, the Seahawks. 44-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. 7:35 remaining in the first quarter. No score. That's Largent in motion. Dangerous receiver. Jodak playing the left side over Tom Lynch. Gets a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
There was an evidence of a low-round draft choice that worked out. 10th-round draft choice. We caught him in a preseason game against Dallas last year, Frank, and knew that he was headed for a regular spot. Remember?
He has earned it. He has started every game since coming in as that 10th-round draft pick. Side by side, Manu Tuiasosopo.
I'm glad you finally got that one out. That's the last of him now.
2nd and 8, and Dornick. Flag is down as Dornick is down to the 30-yard line. Yardage enough for the 1st down, but again, a flag is down.
Mira.
Bring it back. Holding against Seattle.
Look at Gene Upshaw.
You couldn't get him out of there with dynamite, however.
A little bit bandaged, huh?
197th consecutive start tonight.
It's number 82, holding.
When you're with the Raiders, you want to run left. They've done it for years behind Shell and Upshaw. It's almost a maxim of the game. Look at the Hawks. They haven't won a game at home this year.
And they've lost 3 consecutive games. 30-31 heartbreaker last week to Kansas City. The holding against Mark Bell, the tight end. They have moved the Seahawks all the way back inside their 49. 2nd down, and it's 18. Long count. Goes to Jodak. To the 45-yard line, back close to the original line of scrimmage. We'll call it 3rd down and 10.
Good call. Zorn was not impatient. He knew he couldn't get all the yardage back on one player, or at least didn't want to risk it. So he used the draw, and he got some of it back.
Oftentimes that does work, because ordinarily in kind of a loose defense, protecting the distance, they'll open up that middle, and you just pop through. You can't pick up some good yardage in there.
Zorn lifts it over. The 4 wide receivers are in. Largent, Grable, Green, and McCullum. Dan Dornick, single setback. And here comes the pressure. Zorn lost it. And just over the outstretched fingertips of Steve Largent, and so many times Steve Largent has brought this crowd to its feet in his 5-year go at professional football.
But what Jim is doing now in the recent games that he wasn't doing earlier is going to his key man Largent, because they had been double covering Largent. So he turned to McCullum and used Sam very effectively. Now they're beginning to loosen up a little bit on Steve, so he's going back to Largent.
Ira Matthews led the nation at the University of Wisconsin in punt returns a couple of years ago. He awaits the punt of Herman Weaver. Underfoot, bangs it.
Underfoot.
And it is dramatic, but in the end zone, where it'll come back out to the 20-yard line, which is in actuality a gain of 25 yards. So we are into the first quarter with no score. We'll be back in a moment. Oakland, their own 20-yard line. Kenny King, single setback. Van Egan in motion, and Van Egan out in front of King. And King tries to turn the corner and does so. Just getting back to the line of scrimmage. Chased out of bounds by Keith Butler as Van Egan, or rather Kenny King, picks up a yard.
Kenny King averaged 7.9 yards per carry 1 year at Oklahoma. That's almost unbelievable.
You know, Oakland really wanted to take him, but they didn't have a 3rd-round draft pick. And so he went to the Houston Oilers, where I think he carried the ball maybe half a dozen times. 3 attempts he had at Houston a year ago. And Oakland this year traded, of course, Jack Tatum and 2 7th-round draft picks. And Kenny King has been spectacular with just under 600 yards on the season. 2nd down and 9. And almost picked off. John Harris roaming the outfield at free safety. Incomplete.
If I were him, I think I'd limp a little bit, too, because that thing hit him right in the hands, didn't it? Bless his heart. That should have been an interception. Let's see. Now you see Harris moving in. He's got it zeroed in from his center field position. He just, my gosh, you couldn't put it any better. He just jumped up. You saw him come down there. This surface is pretty hard, as most of the artificial surfaces are. And he's limping a little bit as he comes back to line up.
I got to tell you, Chandler almost had it on the rebound.
If I was a quarterback, I got to tell you, it may be cruel, but you got to go back and try him again, haven't you? Anybody can't limping like that.
3rd down and 9, and Harris does stay in. He's still limping out there. That was Plunkett's first pass. He was able to get off. Whittington. Arthur Whittington explodes out close to the 35-yard line. He'll have the first down at the 34.
Now that was a surprise call, Don, and as you suggested earlier, against a looser defense, it can work for you. That's exactly what it did.
Well, Arthur, of course, out of SMU in Cuero, Texas, did move into the outside. Van Egan, look at him. Number 30 comes in here. He is one of the most amazing athletes that I think I've seen in pro ball today. I'm talking about Van Egan and the way he does such a consistent job in and out. And you're right, the play did work. It opened up to the outside on a long yardage situation.
First 10 for the Raiders. Plunkett, Whittington. And Whittington is hammered there at the 39-yard line by Keith Butler. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
He's a typical, as you look at Dan Pastorini, you'll be hearing from him at halftime. Dan DeRue interviewed him, and you'll be hearing that interview. Whittington is a typical Oakland Raider type, underrated, and yet he can make the key play to kill you, as he did with a kickoff return for a touchdown a week ago against Cincinnati. They always underrated Pete Banaszak all those years. Remember, Frank?
Chandler split right on 2nd down and 6. Plunkett tries to get it over the middle to tight end. Raymond Chester, and glued to Raymond Chester was Keith Simpson, one of the fine athletes on this Seattle football team.
Top draft choice. But keep your eye on number 88, even as you look at the slide of Simpson, because Chester is one of 3 reasons why they traded David Casper. Chester himself, an original Oakland first-round draft choice, then traded to Baltimore and brought back here in a subsequent trade. Then they have Derek Ramsey and Todd Christensen, and Oakland believes that the 3 of them more than compensate for Casper, who admittedly is one of the greatest.
3rd and 5. Chandler in motion. Over the middle, and Whittington doesn't handle the football. It would have been a hard pass to handle, but it would also have been a first down.
Well, that ball looked like it came over there awfully fast. It was certainly catchable, I guess, but seemed to me that, you see, Jim's getting a little bit of pressure. They're throwing some. Actually, they didn't throw any linebackers. Yeah, they got one linebacker coming, but hey, that ball's right in there. I thought you got to catch that, son.
We got to.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we made the mistake in giving him the plug on past performance.
I don't really think he's paying any attention to us.
Speaking of past performance, he has been up there almost every year in he's leading the AFC now, but meanwhile the Giants' Dave Jennings is just running away with the punting honors. We saw Ray Guy at 43.7. Jennings is over 47 yards on his average. Guy, even though it doesn't turn over, gets it inside the 20, and it goes to Will Lewis. Flag is down as Lewis goes down out around the 26-yard line. The flag down in the area which might indicate there was an illegal man downfield. Referee tonight is Fred Silva, and holding, and it works against Seattle twice now. They've been detected holding.
Well, boy, he threw that flag at a funny time. It was from way back around the 20-yard line. I saw that flag fly up to about the 40, so the holding must have occurred in initial contact with a...
On the run back, number 83.
I see.
Holding. First down.
Steve Rabel, who was fighting the outside man of the Oakland Raiders coming down, detected holding. Rabel says, "No, Jack, I didn't." Jack nods, quiet, stoic. Jack Patera, but don't make him angry. We'll be back.
Livingston Seagal.
Right, see, they've been floating around our window out there around the hotel. I've had more fun. I've been opening the window, like feeding them some things.
Those
Seagull.
are buzzards.
Oh, they didn't look like those girls.
1st and 10. Seattle with the ball at the 16-yard line following the penalty. That's Sawyer in motion. And Joe Dak. Top Box out for about 5, close to the 21-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
He's an interesting case. Frank told you earlier he joined the team, played against the Redskins, gained 117 yards in that game, which was about what he had gained in 3 years with the Rams.
Originally a 12th round pick with the Rams, hurt his ankle a year ago, and when Seattle got in trouble for running backs this year with the loss of Sherman Smith, they picked up Joe Datt. This is Big Dan Dornick on the left side. He'll get a couple of yards out of it.
Now, last week we started slowly. Remember that brilliant game between Houston and New England? But they had too much firepower for it to remain a dormant game, and so it became 38-34. One can expect the same thing to happen between these two teams. There is a lot of firepower on that field.
3rd down and 4. Rabel spread out to the left. McCullum and Largent at the bottom of your screen. That's McCullum in the slot. And the Raiders in their 4-man front. Good call as Dornick just explodes over that left side behind Louis Bullard, and Tom Lynch gets the 1st down out near the 35-yard line.
I would like to think that that was an audible call by Zorn. You saw there was a little bit of hesitancy before they made that play. A quick little sane handoff. You start running these plays in grade school, but they can really be effective. They had them split out. The linebackers were not there. I think it was an audible call. At least it was a good call. Picked up a 1st down. This guy is a very impressive young man. Looks like a nice clean cut. He ought to be a doctor, don't you think? You gotta trust that face.
1st and 10. Largent in motion. Zorn. Very cool under pressure, and he gets it down to Largent. He has the 1st down inside Raider territory. A big blitz was on.
Frank. Now, was that a good catch? It looked to me that ball was thrown so hard. Largent's hands looked so soft when he caught it. Let's see if we can get. This is Steve Largent again. As I mentioned at the top of the show, he's been with Jerry Rome for 8 years. 3 years at Tulsa, his 5th year here. Trying to work open. The thing that they give him the most credit for is his ability to run routes. But that way, his hand just went up. You saw him give with that ball. Man, he could catch him in a crowd. That was a nice
Zorn
catch.
was under deep pressure. Don McClanahan, 57, had blitzed. He fell as he was about to hit Zorn, who avoided him neatly.
1st and 10, the ball inside the Raiders' 49-yard line. Zorn again feeling the pressure from Hendrickson, gets it off to the tight end John Sawyer, and Sawyer has another Seattle 1st down, and the crowd loves it.
That's what I meant by firepower. They can do it quickly on either side.
They can. Sawyer's what they call one of their good old boys up here from southern Mississippi.
Just a country boy from Baker, Louisiana.
I didn't know exactly where it was Baker, and I thought it was outside of Baker. Ground look again saying pretty good protection. Zorn moves out to the other side. A little bit late release by Sawyer. He blocked a little bit, then came back in, picked it up.
They're backing it up.
Offense, illegal formation, number 72.
That does hurt. However, Seattle is in and out of formations they have not used thus far this season. Louis Bullard over the left side.
We saw another.
Gates, another 1st down, is all the way back now to the 47-yard line of Seattle. 1st down and 15. Largent right. And Jeff Moore tries the right side, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Jeff Moore, a speedster who was mainly on the special teams, running back kicks a year ago, but he can really turn it on.
He really can. He's the kind of kid who shows flashes, and you keep hoping that he's going to evolve into a star. He's another of those from Jackson State, a lower-round draft choice, but with tremendous speed. He was very impressive in preseason a year ago. Yep.
That was very impressive against the Jets in an early season win for Seattle. 2nd down, 10. Ball inside Oakland's 49-yard line. In the final minute of the 1st quarter, as Moore once again tries the right side, gets close to the 45-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
They'd be looking for a little bit more than 3 yards off that play at that time. 2nd down and 10. I think they were in hopes that they'd at least pick up 6, 7. They're now still in a fairly long 3rd down situation.
And we will not get a playoff before the 1st quarter expires.
Still no score from the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington. Zorn over to visit with Jack Patera, his counterpart, Jim Plunkett.
The Boeing 747. The Boeing 727.
It's on the scoreboard, and we'd like to apologize if you are experiencing audio difficulties. We are having trouble also from here, and you are getting what we call, in technological terms, backup audio. We'll try and get it straightened out for you. 3rd down and 7. Seattle has the ball. Jim Jodat, single setback. The ball at the 45-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. And Zorn steps into the pocket and is batted away. Hustling in there, knocking the ball away.
Reggie Kinlaw, or was it? Yeah, I guess it's Kinlaw.
Reggie Kinlaw has been playing superb football for the Raiders. He is just about beaten Dave Pear out of that position. Of course, Pear hurt earlier in the season with having a neck problem, an ankle problem. 4th down. There's Ira Matthews. Herman Weaver. Again, we will tell you it appears to be a punt. Seattle sometimes doesn't do what it appears that they're going to do. Oh, and it just does trickle into the end zone. So Seattle will have their possession out at the 20-yard line. I'll tell you about college football coming your way this Saturday as we're getting down to those critical games. It'll begin live at 12 o'clock Eastern time, and it's a doubleheader. Game 1 will be regional coverage, so check the listing for the game in your area. Michigan, Ohio State, of course, the Rose Bowl on the line there. Oklahoma, Nebraska, the Orange Bowl on the line there. And, of course, Yale at Harvard in that classic. The winner of that one, of course, if it's Yale, well, they will be the Ivy League champions. So check the listing for the game in your area. Then stay tuned for game number 2, and that's a classic also. USC against UCLA. And those of you attending the Harvard game, we want to remind you, it's an earlier starting time. It'll be 12:35. 1st down, 10. Plunkett, Van Egan.
All right, let's take a look at the stats, Frank, for the first quarter. You can say 1st down, Seattle's edge. Rushing edge, Seattle. Yards passing, Seattle. Total yards, clearly Seattle. And a huge edge in time of possession. So Seattle is playing very well, but they have not scored.
I'm afraid
Jacob Green, the number 1 draft pick, and who, well, he has just been an absolutely brilliant performer. And this his rookie year is down on the carpet. He is in obvious pain, being treated there by the medical staff of the Seattle Seahawks. We'll have a report when we come back. Jacob Green.
You see the left knee there. That one is the number 1 pick, as we mentioned, out of Houston, Texas, and Texas A&I, and that's going to be some problem for that left knee. Really hate to see that.
Jacob Green still being treated, as you can see. Texas A&M, actually, where he was a unanimous All-American, up on his feet, but I cannot believe that, if nothing else, he has certainly had a hyperextension. There he is. He has been the outstanding pass rusher for Seattle and an outstanding young man.
They have no replacement for that man for the simple reason you can't replace a man with that degree of excellence at the position.
Jacob Green being helped off the field. We'll try and get a further report. Meanwhile, Terry Dion has come in, a rookie from the University of Oregon, number 62, 4th-round draft pick. Jim Plunkett looks over the defense. Spots a 2nd down and 7. The ball at the 23-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. Still no score. Cliff Branch out to the left of Plunkett. To the right is Bob Chandler. Kenny King, right side. Coming up there quickly is Keith Simpson defensively for Seattle. And he drops King right at the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, Seattle is playing with great intensity. It's incredible. Oakland comes in here and they seem snake bit, but it's still early.
Oakland, of course, first in the AFC in rushing, 11th, or the 2nd in rushing, 7th in passing. Seattle weak against the rush, 11th in their 14-member team of the American Football Conference, and yet Oakland has been able to do very little against Seattle. 3rd down, 7. 3 wide receivers now for the Raiders. Morris Bradshaw, number 81, comes in. Out goes Raymond Chester, the tight end. Plunkett gets back in the pocket, but he's got a crowd with him.
Still going.
Still scrambling, but they'll bring it back. He was in the arms of a tackler. It was Bill Gregory. That, of course, the new rule this year to try and keep your quarterbacks healthy.
And putting on an extremely effective pass rush. That's the third time we've seen Plunkett in the process of scrambling. The other two times he fumbled. One he recovered, one he lost. And he had that football out like a big grapefruit there. Again, ready to go. Did you see it done?
Well, I think, you mentioned Jim has not been playing too much for the last couple of years. Of course, he's been in the league for 10 years, and he's never been considered a real top runner. So maybe that's one of the reasons.
Great guy to punt, Will Lewis, the rookie free agent from Millersville State. Oh, and Guy has hit a bomb, and it drives Will Lewis back to his 34-yard line. But it was low, and Lewis gets out over the 45, close to the 47. 51-yard punt by Ray Guy.
Frank, Seattle has had consistently good field position, and yet they haven't capitalized.
So Seattle, again, as you pointed out, will have the football near midfield, and we'll be coming back to the Kingdome in Seattle in just a moment. Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, and Seattle has the football. Once again, good field position. The Oakland Raiders, of course, with a win tonight, will stay one game ahead of San Diego in the AFC Western Division. Seattle has a 4-6 record, but they still feel with games ahead, mostly against divisional opponents, that they can be in it. On first down, Largent in motion. Lawrence McCutcheon, who was acquired 3 weeks ago from the Denver Broncos, who had acquired him from L.A. this past season after 8 years with the Rams, where he became the Rams' all-time leading rusher, and he gets 4 yards. It'll be second down and 6.
He was an exceptional football player, as you fans know. He was regarded as through by the Rams when they sent him to Denver. But he still retains the capacity to throw the option pass very effectively.
Larry Brinson, player claimed from Dallas at the beginning of the season. Number 36 is the other setback. This is Largent in motion. Brinson, right side, and Brinson bounces off one Raider to the outside, but covered there, short of the first down at the 46-yard line. It'll be second down, and we'll call it 2. Thursday night, we'll be moving around the nation as we slide into Miami, and we will be down there for the Dolphins and San Diego.
Are we sliding in?
That's a good way to do it.
Well, it seems that way along about this time of the season.
Jacob Green, by the way, has a sprained knee. Not as bad as we had feared when we first saw him go down.
3rd and 2, and Jeff Moore, number 32, replaces Brinson, 36 at setback. So it's McCutcheon and Brinson, or rather Moore. Zorn trying to get off the screen, but the Raiders are too wise for that. And he checks off, finds a receiver, Steve Largent. Largent has the first down at the 40-yard line.
You see Largent come back. He ran his route. He saw his quarterback in trouble, came back done.
Well, he really is an exceptionally smart player. Now, I don't think, he's not very big, not very fast. He just always gets open, makes catches. He's got a consecutive game, what do you call that, reception streak going here for Seattle. He's an unusual player in that he really does run precision routes. And he and Zorn have, through the years, have established a great combo.
First down and 10. Larry Brinson. He's corralled by Ted Hendricks, who is playing maybe the best football of his 12-year career. He has been spectacular for Oakland this year.
He makes the big plays. He's always had a penchant for that.
John Matusak is down on the turf now.
Oh, they can't lose him either from their point of view.
Well, he says, I'll just go ahead and get up.
Big John, 6'8", 280-pounder. Kind of a typical Oakland player, if there is such a thing. They got him as a free agent when he was cut by Washington in '76. He had been the #1 draft pick in all of the NFL back in '73.
Houston.
They sent him to Kansas City. They sent him to Washington. Washington cut him, and Matusak, for the last couple of years, has been playing good football.
Oakland, of course, historically the most efficient team on Monday Night Football. 14-1-1.
Loss of a couple, second down and 12. 11 minutes remaining in the first half. No score. Brinson, 36, single setback. Zorn reads the blitz, has the time, and Largent, or rather trying to handle the football downfield was Steve Rabel.
Well, I think there was confusion between the quarterback and the intended receiver on the pattern. You notice how close Rabel was to Lodgen?
Once again, I think he was trying to audible a play. He's in his relatively new offense for those 4 wide receivers. That could be difficult for him, too. The ball was a little bit, well, actually, it was a little bit wide, but Steve, if Steve had caught it, we'd have said, man, what a terrific catch. But as we did, well, it's an incompletion. I think that might be right.
The Bandits are in for Oakland. That's Hartman, great pass rusher, and Willie Jones, number 90. Hartman, 86. Third down, 12. Flag goes down as Rabel doesn't hold on downfield.
Well,
Mike Davis was defending against Rabel.
he should have caught that one for sure. That one hit him between the 8 and the 3.
Pushing off
Against Oakland. And had Rabel handled that ball, he could have gone in.
Hey, what was the call? Defensive holding? Is that what? That was the call? Let's just wait and see. Why I'm asking you guys.
Defense number 36, illegal contact.
See there?
First down.
Illegal contact. It was more than 5 yards downfield. First down, the ball inside the 37-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
big break.
Big break as it gave him a first down.
Capacity crowd. Seattle 4-6 on the season. They've dropped their last 3, 30-31 right here in the Kingdome last week at Kansas City. Oakland on a 5-game roll. Oh, super defensive play, hustling across the line of scrimmage. Number 53, Rod Martin. He collects Lawrence McCutcheon for a loss of about 6.
Somebody better block those guys on the outside.
That was a super defensive play. Watch it.
Well, it is, but we saw Hendricks make the same one, so you got to suggest, I mean, you got to think that maybe somebody's missing some blocks over that area. Both those outside linebackers, when they see that flow to their side, take that inside rush, go right through there and knock it off. Good play by Martin. Good play by Hendricks we saw earlier.
Hey, it's a very well coordinated defense because they do so many things. They show you a lot of different fronts, a lot of different people, and you really have got to have your homework down. Second down, 15. Flag goes down as Zorn is complete to Sam McCullum, short of the first down at the 38-yard line. And holding is going to work against Seattle.
So third time after pretty good gains, Seattle has been called for that particular infraction.
Oakland has the beginnings of getting its pass rush together now.
Oh, they've been doing a pretty good job, and Seattle this year has not been doing a good job in defending against that pass rush. Zorn coming into this game, I believe, have been trapped 29 times. That's a fairly sizable number when you consider you're not.
Offense number 72, holding.
Lewis Bullard, he's got a couple tonight. Second down, long yardage. The ball now over midfield, back in Seattle territory.
Those penalties have cost Seattle heavily. They are the reason why they have not capitalized on their field position tonight.
Second down, 25. Good blitz down for the Raiders, and they like to give it to you. Here comes Hendricks. And Zorn gets off the screen. Jeff Moore is wrestled out of bounds at the 48, and another flag is down.
Against 61, it appears.
Against 61.
Tom Lynch is 61 for Seattle.
Tom Lynch was one of the guys. We were talking to the Seattle PR people today in the trade that they've made with Dallas and swapping first-round draft picks to get Tony Dorsett. First man they picked was Steve August. They got Tom Lynch, and over the middle linebacker Terry Beason. So they
and all three are regulars, so they didn't do badly.
Yeah, it's kind of theirs. They swapped their number 2 back to Dallas for Duke Ferguson, who's no longer with the club. So they feel that was the trade that was very good for them and obviously very good for Dallas.
Offensive pass interference, 61, refused. Third down.
Oakland decides they would rather have Seattle with the football. Third down and about 22. Can take the penalty.
Penalty there is Tom Lynch, number 61. The fellow we were talking about threw a block before the pass was thrown.
Third down, 21. little setback is Jodat. And Dorn under pressure tried to time it out with Rabel, incomplete, and will be 4th down, and the crowd is beginning to get on their young Seahawk football team.
Zorn's the guy they're giving the trouble to, Frank. There's some rumbles here. They're trying to say, hey, we love you, Jimmy, but we want you to sit on the bench for a while. It happens to a lot of folks.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, uncharacteristically, last week he had 5 interceptions against Kansas City.
Well, that's been his problem. He's thrown way too many interceptions in his career.
Weaver to punt.
Thunderfoot.
He bangs it. Ira Matthews watches it, hoping it'll get into the end zone.
Not quite.
And it does. So this will come out to the 20-yard line, as Thunderfoot has put it in the end zone twice, and Jim Zorn gets on the horn. Where are all those people coming from? We'll be back.
Just say hello to a brand new world. It's just outside your door. Now that Pat
In the Kingdom, both the Oakland Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks having trouble moving the football. The Oakland Raiders have a 1st down, the ball at their own 20-yard line, and Jim Plunkett, who took over 5 games ago, beat San Diego, he beat Pittsburgh, he beat Seattle. 33-14 in their first game. He also beat Miami and Cincinnati. And they are a little tentative so far this evening. Here comes Kenny Kane. And Kenny Kane twirled out of bounds at the 24-yard line by Kerry Justin after a gain of about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6, and we're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our friends and affiliates along the line tell you who's bringing this football game to you.
KOMO TV for Seattle.
Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and the dandy one, Don Meredith, watching the Seattle Seahawks trying to stay alive in the Western Division of the AFC. And of course the Oakland Raiders trying to stay on top of San Diego by a game. They need a win tonight. 2nd down and 6. Mark Van Eegen, and he is smothered at the 25-yard line. Give him 1. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Astonishing. We have now had more than 21 minutes of football, and Oakland simply hasn't shown anything in the way of offense. And astonishingly, the score remains 0-0.
Again, the 2 wide receivers, and so far Plunkett's been unable to get to them. Bob Chandler, a superb receiver out on the right side, number 85, having a great year. He has 8 touchdowns on 32 receptions coming into tonight. The speedster Cliff Branch, the other wide receiver. Now he's put Branch and Chandler both to the left side. But Branch has 32 receptions with 5 touchdowns. Plunkett runs out of time, and he runs out of the pocket. He'll get the 1st down. Out of bounds at the 32-yard line, 1st down, and this is a dimension that Plunkett has added to the Oakland Raiders.
Well, I must say, the man he was facing tremendous coverage. He was looking deep downfield for Cliff Branch, who couldn't get loose. He was left with no recourse but to scramble.
Plunkett has only been sacked 5 times in the last 5 games. That's the kind of job the offensive line has been doing for the Oakland Raiders. And of course he is so nifty, as you just saw a moment ago. It isn't anything graceful looking, but somehow or other he gets out of the trouble and can often pick up that 1st down on his own. 8:06 remaining in the 1st half. No score. That's Chandler in motion. Play action by Plunkett. And Plunkett looks around and finally comes up with Raymond Chester. And Raymond Chester has a gain of about 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Hit there convincingly by John Harris.
That's right.
For 44.
But good 1st down yardage, and I wondered when he was going to start going to that remarkable athlete. You know, when they brought him back the 2nd time from Baltimore in the 2nd trade, when they reacquired him, the Oakland organization was toying with the notion of making Chester a fullback, even as Al Davis had made Hewritt Dixon a tight end, a fullback in earlier years. He's such a great athlete, he can certainly play either position.
2nd down, 5. Draw play, Van Eegen. And Van Eegen churns up close to the 40-yard line, short of the 1st down. It'll be a 3rd down. We'll call it 3. Manu Tuiasosopo on top of Van Eegen. A remarkable stat about Van Eegen, who's playing in his 99th consecutive game tonight. He has carried the ball over 1,350 times with the Raiders, their leading rusher. And his longest run from scrimmage, 34 yards. So he does not a game breaker, but he always shows up.
99 times in a row. That tells you something.
That means a lot of knockdowns.
They grow them big in the Chenango Valley where Colgate is. Big of heart.
3rd and 3. Plunkett dancing and looking and overthrows. Raymond Chester was wide open.
Wide open. That was the one that Plunkett really blew.
Well, he's upset because I think that there could have been a... I seem like I always take up for quarterbacks, but I think Chester, what he was really trying to do, he said, look, you're supposed to go on down another direction. He got a little pressure coming in from the outside, or the inside. That was Robert Hardy. He throws the ball.
You see Chester all alone right there.
It could be that he was not supposed to be all alone there, though.
Well, he was, wasn't he?
He sure was.
Those things happen.
Great guy will punt. Will Lewis, the rookie from Millersville State. There he is, 5'9", 185-pounder, averaging a little over 7 yards a return on the season.
Ray Guy's their number 3 quarterback. Frank has got the strongest arm by far than any other quarterback.
Look at that ball. Ray Guy is going to put it out inside the 10-yard line. Tremendous kick. And the flag is down once again out of the 25-yard line. That was a 51-yard punt by Ray Guy.
Well, let's see what this call is. Flip?
Could be. You know, we were talking about Ray Guy, and we've missed it many times. He was a little face mask. How about that? Number 1 draft pick, but what a terrific all-around athlete. As Jack Patera says, that's all right. But he is the number 3 quarterback, does have a really good strong arm, and could step in there and play if something happened to the other 2.
And like Herman Weaver, he'll throw the ball out of punt formation.
He's completed 3 of his last 4, old Thunderfoot. Patera will find all kinds of tricks.
Face mask is the call.
Oakland, number 56, face mask. First down.
Jeff Barnes caught with his hand in the wrong place. You don't mind, pick it and then sing it. Willie Nelson eats your heart out.
Oh, what can I tell you?
We'll be back. Along with Howard Cosell and Don Meredith. Watching, surprisingly so, a scoreless game with 6:25 remaining here in the first half. 2 offensive-minded ball clubs. Young Jim Zorn in his 5th year moves the Seahawks up to a first down and 10. The ball at the 23-yard line, his own 23. McCutcheon. And McCutcheon out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Well, Patera's going to have to start with some tricks. He's been a notable coach in terms of his coaching creativity. A defensive ball player, he has become a very creative offensive-minded coach, including the use of Efren Herrera. As you look at him, beautifully slimmed down, an august presence. He's used Efren Herrera even as a receiver.
Second down, 7. Zorn changing up. Finds Largent, but Largent cannot get there off the fingertips. And Dwayne Osteen, another player picked up from the Los Angeles Rams by the Oakland Raiders, in there defensively now. And Zorn will bring his receivers back and talk over a 3rd down and 7. He'll get the signal as it's flashed in from Jerry Rohn. Don was telling you about him earlier.
He's really been a student of the game for as long as I've known him, and I've known him since high school days. His father was a coach, and I think he really does have a very good football mind, particularly an offensive football mind.
3rd and 7. Largent to the left. Out to the right is Rabel. He faces one of the best defensive backs in the league, and Oakland's Lester Hayes. Zorn.
Intercept.
And there it is. Picked off out on the left side. Defensively, Mike Davis was there. His 3rd interception of the year.
Part of the
Zorn will be booed resoundingly.
The reason I think he got some pressure that time, really didn't set and throw, threw off balance, didn't have enough strength behind it, and we're going to be right back in just a minute.
Leading the NFL at the left cornerback spot. And Oakland now, good field position, their own 45-yard line. Now it goes to Whittington. And Whittington kicking in the afterburner, and running away from Keith Butler to get out of a bounds after a pickup of a couple.
Don, you were the quarterback, but doesn't Plunkett seem tentative tonight? You see how tentative he seemed when he threw that screen to Whittington?
Well, I think what Jim's trying to do, Howard, is he's trying to establish his own style as quarterback. And really, by his own admission at the top of the show, he hasn't had one for a long time. So I think he would be tentative. And yeah, he's not throwing with a great deal of confidence right now.
Second down and 8.
There's a good one.
There's the time, and he fires it into Bob Chandler. And Bob Chandler drops the ball, but now they're ruling it was never handled, incomplete.
Incomplete.
Well, that ball was thrown with some confidence, and it was not tentative. He just sat back, got his planted that right foot, stepped forward, and threw a good ball.
This is a very important series for Oakland as you look at Plunkett. Who is number 17 and where is Milton?
Don't mess with them. They can't spell college. They don't know anything, right? Is that collage?
Under any circumstance, I think it's collage. Under any circumstance, the interesting thing here is this is the first time in this whole game Oakland has had good field position to start a drive, and they've just, in effect, wasted 2 downs.
But here's a big one.
Third down, 8. Chandler is right. Good branch up at the top of your screen. Plunkett looking for Raymond Chester, and Chester took his eyes off the ball.
He really did. And Plunkett is pained. Look at his face.
To say the least, he is pained, he said. My gosh.
Tell you won't see that often from this man. Raymond Chester, who had a great season last year along with Casper. And as we watch again, we will remind you that Casper, of course, 6 weeks ago went to the Houston Oilers for a first-round draft pick in a couple of seconds, because they figured that Raymond Chester was their man, as good a tight end as you're going to find in the league, and they had backups in Derek Ramsey and Todd Christensen. But that time, Raymond Chester could have had the first down deep in Seattle territory. Great guy to punt. Will Lewis stations himself at his own 10-yard line.
It's getting a little ragged.
Guy had to kick this one almost to the rooftop here at the Kingdome. And fair catch called for and made at the 19-yard line. But Ray Guy had to hurry, but nevertheless, he really put something on that one.
I tell you, I haven't seen anything that high since Ed Roebuck tried to hit the top of the Astrodome fungo heading.
There was pressure on this kick, and Ray Guy had to hustle.
I haven't seen anything that high since I was in Denver. All right. He did get a little pressure, and whammo, that ball does go. His foot, as you see, goes above the head on every kick. It's getting a little competitive because Ray's been considered the #1 punter around. He's getting a little, I say, a lot of competition out of New York these days. Jennings.
First and 10. Zorn has a lot of time. And it's open, and it's Jeff Moore. And Jeff Moore battling close to midfield in the arms of Ted Hendricks.
Now, that's an exceptionally good pass pattern, but one that you don't see a great deal. Jeff Moore came out, trailed out of the backfield. They cleared out that zone with a deep receiver. Saw a little play-action pass in there. Didn't get a big, heavy rush, but Tuzak is back in the game, as you see. 1-on-1 on Hendricks. Whoa, he almost dropped that ball, didn't he? He says, hold on. Now he stepped out of bounds. Good, had a good clearing pattern to go deep. That was, I think, Raybo that went deep. Jeff Moore came in a little bit late.
31-yard pickup. The first down is near midfield. Still no score. 4:58 remaining in the first half. Zorn wide open is Largent, and he holds on at the 35-yard line. Wrestled to the turf there, but Largent has another Seattle Seahawks first down.
We remind you, as you see this quick firepower by Zorn and the Hawks. Will ISO now down on Largent.
Not an unusual pattern. In fact, we saw him miss Largent just about a half a step earlier on this same pattern. That time he had zeroed in there. Came in, Largent made a good move to the inside, and that was Burgess Owens.
Good tackle by Burgess, who's lent stability. He is an excellent tackler to that secondary.
Burgess Owens, of course, replaced Charles Phillips, who was hurt in the preseason. First and 10. Over the right side, and Brenson there close to the 35-yard line. Gain of a yard. It'll be second down and 9. And Tuzak, Reggie Kinlaw, both there.
You've talked, Don, about Rome, Jerry Rome. and his relationship with Largent. It's a very natural thing. Since Largent went to Tulsa, Jerry Rome had gone to Tulsa. Rome had made a national name throwing to a slowish end named Howard Twilley.
Didn't he ever?
And Largent is of that ilk.
Second down 9. Zorn scouting a change off. He has 3 wide receivers. And this is Brinson. And Brinson is taken there as he moves inside the 35, close to the 34-yard line. Otis McKinney, they call him the Pirate in their prevent defense, and Rod Martin made the stop. It's 3rd down and 7.
Frankly, I don't understand Rome's calls on those plays.
Well, what I was going to make a comment was McKinney's tackle, because, you know, that was one, had he not been down under that pile and grabbed him by the feet, they had a pretty good hole working in there, so it could have made some good game. I would say that it was not so much the call, it was a pretty good defensive play that time.
4 wide receivers now on 3rd down 7. Single setback, Lawrence McCutcheon. Jesse Green, 86, is in there with McCullum, Largent, and Rabel. McCutcheon, I believe Zorn might have changed that when he read the defense of the Oakland Raiders, and McCutcheon explodes over the left side behind Tom Lynch, gets down inside the 20, 1st down near the 17.
Took them completely by surprise, going to the rush for the 3rd straight time.
You saw 56 Jeff Barnes move to the inside from his linebacker position. He moved in, he guessed wrong. He went to the inside hole, got blocked. McCutcheon had a big hole to the outside and moved on in there. That was one of those situations, in my opinion, where the defense, they caught him in the right defense.
And Seattle will not try to get a play off before the 2-minute warning here in the 1st half. And now Oakland says we're going to stop it. So Oakland uses one of their timeouts, stops the clock. And that is the indication.
Now tell me why they do that. I have never understood that particular move by coaches that I've seen. What does that mean?
It takes away one timeout really for Seattle.
Well, but why would Oakland? What are they talking about out there?
Matt Millen is really upset.
I would think so. You know, they were talking about Millen. He's the guy who's a rookie. But the thing they say, he has added the stability, the leadership.
Which is amazing, because they've got so many veterans on the club.
There he is right now. He was a freshman linebacker at Penn State, and then they moved him to defensive end. He came to the Raiders. The first time they looked at him, he weighed about 275 pounds, and they, of course, picked him in the 2nd round, and they said, you better get on a protein diet, baby. You're going to be a linebacker again.
If he's from Penn State, he's a linebacker. If anything's established in the NFL, the guy from Penn State's a linebacker.
I think he's upset. I saw Willie Brown there on the sideline doing the timeout move. I think that they didn't really intend to call timeout there. How can this help Oakland calling timeout with 5 seconds to go?
I agree with you 100%.
So
made no sense at all.
I think they made a mistake is what I'm saying. I think that's what Millen was upset about.
If the offense had called timeout, you could understand it better.
Yeah, I could have understood that better.
That's right.
They could have. Well, anyway, there's timeout.
Interesting game. We were surprised there wasn't more scoring than we've seen thus far. And, well, there's a team that'll put some points up there. And, again, the bottom part of the graphic will indicate we have a special starting time from Miami with the Chargers and the Dolphins at 8:30 Eastern time.
The Chargers are watching this now and rooting for the team with the football, the Hawks.
They would be in a tie should Seattle knock off Oakland tonight. On 1st down, Zorn quickly looking out into the flat and not handling the football, the tight end, John Sawyer.
I tell you what, he set up a good move right there on that same pattern to go out, make a look out to Sawyer and come back to Largent, who did a little streak pattern right down through the middle of that secondary. If he can lay it in there, he had him wide open.
There's John Sawyer out of southern Mississippi.
All right, let's look at those AFC West standings again, and that is some terrific division. Oakland needs tonight to win if they are to stay a game ahead of the Chargers. Chargers come off a 20-7 victory against Kansas City.
Not an easy one.
No, tough game.
2nd down 10.
I like that Fuller for Kansas City. I think he's a good quarterback.
Right up the middle goes McCutcheon. A flag is down. And again, a flag is down. If McCutcheon was not handled, well, all I academic because the holding indicated against Seattle.
Now that's the 4th major penalty against Seattle after instituting determined and effective drives. That's why they're still scoreless. Oakland has had virtually no offense in this game.
Man, they penalized them 15, didn't they?
By the way, that did not look like the McCutcheon that two teams gave up on.
Offense.
I think it's a 10-yard penalty, if I'm not mistaken. That looked like they moved that thing 15 yards because they'd already picked up a little bit of yardage, but what do I know?
So Seattle now will be moved back. It'll be 2nd down and 20. We'll be back after this message from the National Football League. And of course, Tom Lynch, the fine offensive guard there for Seattle. All right, 1:52 remaining in the first half. 2nd down, 20 following that holding call. Larry Brinson, single setback, number 36. The 4 wide receivers are in for Seattle.
I was wrong about the holding call. It was just 10 yards.
10
I'm
yards.
sorry about that.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, I was up until then.
Zorn, he can move around. Upended at the 20-yard line, gets 7 yards, but it will be 3rd down and 12. Rod Martin collecting Zorn at the 20-yard line.
Sure do get sticky down there close, doesn't it?
This has been the trouble with Seattle. They have moved the ball fairly well against every opponent. They get down close and they don't put the ball into the end zone, either settling for a field goal or getting into trouble with a holding call, interception, fumbles.
That's the point, Frank. Tonight, it's the penalties.
4 wide receivers, Dornick, 33, single setback. Sargent, Rabel, McCullum, and Green. Back goes Zorn. Complete. Short of the 1st down to Sam McCullum. He bobbles the football, but they're going to mark it back inside the 10-yard line. They say he was down, and it'll be a decision time. No points on the scoreboard, and it will be 4th down.
I would think there's no real decision. Yeah, you bring Herrera in and take the 3. Put it on the board.
Jack Patera obviously agrees, and out trots Efren Herrera. Keep in mind, Seattle does not always do what they're supposed to do.
Herrera can be a very effective receiver, as we learned in the Atlanta game last year.
Zorn, the holder.
I think they go with the points here, though.
I would think so.
27-yard attempt.
No.
Herrera's way
Herrera! There he goes!
out of bounds. He does not get into the end zone. A little too eager, but the crowd loves it.
That is amazing.
That's a 1st down. That Herrera has become the most exciting wide receiver in the game of football today. Only on Monday night.
It happened in Atlanta, Howard, a year ago.
That's
Atlanta
right.
and Seattle, they did the same thing. You would think that the scouting report would have alerted Oakland to watch this dangerous and wily wide receiver.
But he's actually learned several new routes, Frank. That's the reason why.
Not only that, once, you know what Patera did? Yeah, look, he was out of... You know what Patera did once? He used Herrera as a lead blocker in front of Zorn. and Herrera made an effective block, and Zorn spun for 25 yards.
Herrera trying to get in, comes up short, 1st down and goal. The ball inside the 1.
Is that fun? He is a favorite here in Seattle. We're talking about Herrera. They had an auction the other night here in Seattle for a charity, and Efren offered, and all those Seattle Seahawks were involved, and he offered as his contribution to this auction, he would come in and cook a Mexican dinner. And it sold for $1,700. Here's another angle of it. You'll see again, number 1, you can tell a receiver by the route that he runs. That comes good fast, as a matter of fact, left-handed.
That's called your basic banana route.
I love it.
Efren Herrera from Guadalajara. I love this where I'm going to throw it back.
The the little accidental lateral.
Anyway, he was going to come in for $1,700. He comes in, cooks you a Mexican dinner. His favorites, he says, nachos, margaritas, and on top of that, he was supposed to be for 6 people. So he upped it to 10 people. He says, also, his wife, Susie, I'll teach you how to dance.
You see him on the sidelines there?
That's great.
Patera keeping his cool, telling Zorn exactly what to do. Herrera, the answer to everything your Premian wanted to be.
Think what he's doing to the rest of the kickers around him.
You think Tony French is a little upset?
Oh, they're all upset. All these kickers, they say, oh, Herrera's got it all up there. We were in Santa Fe with him last year for another charity for the Santa Fe Hospital. They came up for a tennis tournament. Bill Gregory, Steve August. Steve August won it, by the way. He's a good tennis player.
First down, goal to go. 24 seconds remaining in the half. Oakland has used another timeout. Sargent settles into a wing on the right side. And McCutcheon bangs into
He got it, he got it, he got it.
top of the show, they love their Seahawks. And this is typical Seahawk play. Herrera for the conversion.
Efren Herrera from Guadalajara.
Flag is down. Flag is down. The penalty, if it's against Oakland, would be assessed on the kickoff. Offside, so that means the kickoff will come from the 40-yard line.
Lawrence McCutcheon,
all-time Ram leading rusher. He actually put together 6,000 yards in a little over 7 seasons there. Had a groin pull a couple of years ago, never really got back from it.
He looks almost statuesque, doesn't he, going off there?
He's grown about a foot.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you love this crowd?
That's why you love to have Seattle on the schedule, because I don't care what their won and lost record is. They can do it against anybody. And Patera makes the game fun. I said a year ago when he used Herrera as a receiver, what this league needs is not parity, it needs enterprise, inventiveness, creative football. Patera has brought it to this town.
Herrera, the kickoff. Matthews and Whittington are deep for the Oakland Raiders with 21 seconds remaining on the clock. Herrera, a little pumped up, and he promptly kicks it out of bounds, and that means they'll back it up 5 yards. He'll do it all over again.
He didn't like that unfair advantage. They'd given him 5-yard penalty. And he said, I want to move it back up where it's supposed to be, and I'll show you how to kick from there.
Let's make a quick point right here and now. Jack Patera, who's an old dear friend of yours because he was with you when Dallas was an expansion team, of Frank's because he was with the Giants, that man, his contract is up this year. There's been some talk among some about the incredible coach of the Washington Huskies, James, who is a marvelous, marvelous coach, as he proved again last Saturday. But forget it. Jack Patera and his own women fancy, and within the very next few weeks, or at most a couple of months, sign a new long-term contract as the coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
If you don't get him in too much trouble.
No way. He deserves it.
Herrera to kick again. This time they had backed it up to the 35. They had kicked from the 40 prior time. Herrera making sure this one doesn't go out of bounds. This is Ira Matthews. He can sting you. And Matthews up to the 30-yard line. Terry Reniker there to make the stop defensively for Seattle. Lots of fun when you watch the Seattle Seahawks play. Talking about Jack Patera, we had a chance to visit with his wife Susan today at a luncheon.
Oh no!
Here in Washington, and Susan was telling her that it's their dad's birthday today, and he'd like to have a victory. That, of course, Alton Bennett on his 77th birthday.
That's awfully nice. You know, they're also expecting their first grandbaby in January, she told us. So we could call him Granddad.
Plunkett not having one of your scintillating exhibitions thus far. Van Egan touching the football, getting out to the 32-yard line, and time will expire here in the first half. Well, it only took about 2 minutes of play to turn this crowd on. They had watched the ball move back and forth in the middle of the field, and then all of a sudden the combination. Zorn to Herrera. And Seattle's on top. We'll be back after this word from our local stations.
Live in the Seattle Kingdom, the halftime score, Seattle 7, Oakland nothing. Cheers for Efren Herrera, the pass receiver supreme. And our halftime features tonight will be bringing you some of the key plays of yesterday, some of the key highlights of yesterday as picked by ABC Sports, some of the key players, plus Dandy Don Meredith's talk with Dan Pastorini. Tonight's halftime features are being brought to you by Metropolitan. Kingdom, the halftime score, Seattle 7, Oakland nothing. Cheers for Efren Herrera, the pass receiver supreme. And our halftime features tonight will be bringing you some of the key plays of yesterday, some of the key highlights of yesterday as picked by ABC Sports, some of the key players, plus Dandy Don Meredith's talk with Dan Pastorini. Tonight's halftime features are being brought to you by Metropolitan. Metropolitan really stands by you with insurance for your life, health, auto, home, and retirement.
Metropolitan really stands by.
About having their great running back George Rogers for another 3 years. Of course, he is a senior, a strong candidate Heisman Award trophy. We'll see him in the Gator Bowl, Pittsburgh against South Carolina.
I want to tell you something quickly, Frank. Hey, that got great bowl games. That'll be a confrontation between Rogers and Hugh Green, the brilliant defensive end, who's probably the best in the country, playing for the Panthers. And then, of course, Missouri, Purdue. That means another look at Mark Herman. Simply incredible. And you know about Herschel Walker by now. Let's get back to the second half.
Herrera to kick off. You had a look at Ira Matthews. He's dangerous back there, as is Arthur Whittington. Whittington went 90 yards for a TD last week against Cincinnati. Herrera punts it and is taken by Whittington. And he's upended immediately, sprawling over the 25, out to the 27-yard line. And let's take a look at the activities as they occurred in the first half.
All right, you see how overwhelmingly Seattle it was. It was almost unbelievable to watch the paucity of the Oakland offense. Yards passing, none. Yards rushing, only 56. Seattle 220 to 56. Seattle totally dominant in possession of the football. Now let's see what this Oakland team is made of.
1st and 10. Oakland at their own 27-yard line. Kenny King, and he runs into trouble over the right side. Bill Gregory was there, along with Manu Tuiasosopo. Harry Dion defensively stays in the ball game for Seattle at left end. Jacob Green, if you were with us in the first half, their rookie sensation, out with a knee injury. Second down, 10. Jim Plunkett, 3 of 9 for 12 yards in the first half. Draw play. King, and Kenny King picked up there nicely defensively. Michael Jackson, the second-year man out of the University of Washington. You remember 3 years ago against Michigan in the Rose Bowl, key interception.
That's it. That's what saved the game for Washington.
Of Washington over Michigan. 3rd down and 8.
Quick note, Frank, we showed the graphic, 3 of 9 for 12 yards for Plunkett. The 12 yards, of course, erased by sacks. Thus the no yards passing on the half.
Ball at the 29-yard line. Oakland trailing 7-0. Plunkett, here comes the pass rush, and Plunkett will go down back at the 23-yard line. The blitzing man, Joe Norman, who comes in against the pass, this time not dropping for coverage, but coming on the blitz.
That kid Joe Norman, whom you just saw make that tackle. All right, Don, pick this up.
Well, they had it. See, nobody blocked him. Norman came up. They tried to move out and get him from an offensive guard situation. It didn't work. He made a good move. He's a good active linebacker, Joe Norman is.
He's a good athlete. He could have played Major League Baseball.
Yeah, for the Phillies, they said, wait a minute, they got a third baseman over there named Smith.
Yeah, he found out it was Mike Schmidt, so he said, I'll try football.
Great guy to punt. You're looking at Will Lewis. All things going according to the way Seattle would like them to go. Seattle will have great field position. But Ray Guy booms a long kick that drives Lewis all the way back to his 20-yard line.
Good move by Lewis.
And Ray Guy does his thing. Excellently, and a flag goes down as Jeff Barnes takes Will Lewis at the 29-yard line.
You know, I'd like to see this again. I don't know if we can, but they're calling this a late hit.
I think it was a good call, Howard. That was, they had him down in there. That's where they really try to protect the injuries, and I think it's good. I think it's Mario Salato that came in, if I'm not mistaken, number 52. Good move by Lewis to get past that first one. You see, he's pretty well down right there, and then here comes the hit, and that's what they're trying to get away from. And I think it's a good call. That's Mario Salato.
Personal foul piling on. First down.
You say it's a good call. I accept it.
Thank you very much.
No man has ever studied the rules more fully, learned them more accurately than you.
That was a 60-yard punt by Ray Guy. The penalty, however, gives the Seahawks the ball just inside their own 44-yard line. Again, they lead by 7. Zorn, play action. Largent, wide open. Nifty moves, and he's got a blocker in front of him. And Largent struggling down close to the 35-yard line. First down, Seattle.
And this team is playing with an absolute intensity now, and they're beginning just the right way, going right to the attack.
All he does, you see that kind of a little slow move off the line, just kind of moved into the open position. He doesn't do much of anything except get open and catch the ball. Isn't that amazing?
Love the way he slipped Mike Davis's tackle, number 36.
There he is, originally drafted by Houston, but his coach, Jerry Rome, came to Seattle, and they traded for Houston in Seattle's first year, and he has been spectacular, leading Seattle in receiving for all 4 years. Steve Largent on 1st and 10. And banging through is Dan Dorney.
The fact that he was originally drafted, Frank, by Houston is another part of this intriguing Rome-Largent story, because Jerry Rome was originally drafted by Houston, and Sonny Werblin traded, no, it was originally Sonny Werblin traded the draft rights to Jerry Rome to Houston. That's the story, for Joe Willie Namath.
I knew he was in there somewhere, but he wound up playing for Dallas.
A gain of 4 by Dornick. Second down, 6. Ball at the 31-yard line. Jodat piled up at the 30-yard line. Gain of a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Randy McClanahan in defensively.
There's our hero. You can forget about Lynn Swan, the perfect wide receiver who played so brilliantly yesterday. The man now is Herrera.
3rd down 4, the 4 wide receiver offense in. Jodat, 43, single setback. Largent, Rabel, Green, and McCullum. The wide receiver offensive set for Seattle.
Have an unusual set for him.
Jodat, flag is down, and Jodat struggling for a first down, or at least the yardage for a first down, but again, that flag is down. John Matuzak, I believe, got offsides, and it will be first down, Seattle.
Either that or another illegal formation thing against Seattle. I think you're right.
Nope.
Matuzak.
Jodat.
Tom Flores
moving down to the 25-yard line.
You know, Flores threw 6 touchdown passes, which is still an Oakland Raider record against Houston. He came out of Fresno.
Encroachment refused. First down.
There you go. Tom Flores is the kind of guy. He was at Fresno City College, went to what was those days COP, broke all of, or a lot of Eddie LeBaron records. Now it's University of Pacific. Been in and out of Oakland, played in Calgary, came back, doing a good job as a head coach in there.
Yes, he is.
Yes, sir.
First and 10 Seattle. They lead 7-0 here in the third quarter. Godat gets a block from Dorning. Steps inside and gets good yardage inside the 20 down around the 19. Good block by Dornick out in front of Jodat, and Jodat read it beautifully.
Frankie hit it. He made good move as Jodat came through and doing a pretty good job on Matuzak. He doesn't know where they're going in there. There was a little jump move coming across some of his own guys. Was finally brought down by Burgess Owens, number 44, Jim Jodat. He really does like it up here. He says, I've got a whole new lease on my football life.
Pick up a 7. It'll be second down and 3. The ball at the 18-yard line. McCullum up at the top of your screen. Wide receiver for Seattle. Jorn going for McCullum. Drills in perfectly right in front of Lester Hayes.
Oh, that was beautiful. That's passing the way Sid Gilman loves it. You go out in that 14 to 17-yard range, you come back a couple of yards, perfect timing pass, hit.
Well, that's true, and he's working on a guy named Lester Hayes out of Houston, Texas.
Who's all pro.
And see, Hayes has terrific position on him, and if that ball was well thrown, and the point you made is to come back for the ball. That's what McCullum did. A lot of receivers don't do that. They cut that thing off, go to the sideline, which really cuts down that angle from the quarterback standpoint. Good route.
First down, close to the 10-yard line. McCullum a split left. That's Largent now, top of your screen. Largent in motion. And off. Horning stacked up at the 8-yard line.
I'm sorry, Frank. I love that Jim Zorn. Did you see the way he handed that ball off?
I love Matuzak coming in and says, you fooled me the time before. You didn't get me that time, fella. I'm coming in and I'll stay awake.
Out of Cal Poly at Pomona, originally with the Dallas Cowboys. They cut him loose in 75. He was floating around in 75. Many think that he was floating around down with the Rams. But that's another story. And then he was signed the first year.
You ought to tell that story.
Seattle Seahawks.
The Cowboys really wanted to keep him.
They had Steve DeBerg then, too.
Well, they actually had an injury, and they brought Preston Pearson in and had to get rid of somebody, and Zorn was the guy that left.
Second down and 8. Zorn quickly reads it to Dornick. Touchdown. Dornick picking it up and instantly picking up Dornick for the 6.
That was the first really good drive we've seen all night by either team. I think he hit it. He got a blitz from the outside. That was Ted Hendricks, number 83, that came in. If Ted Hendricks had not blitzed, this would be his man, Dan Dornick. So since he did, nobody was there to cover Dan.
You can live by the blitz, and you often die by the blitz.
I've heard that. It's also true.
Herrera, conversion, and Seattle out on top, 14-0. Keep in mind, in 3 of the 5 games Seattle has lost here in the Kingdome this year, they have led going into the 4th quarter. It's not over.
From the genius of Datsun. Datsun 810 Maxima, a luxury sedan of sheer brilliance. Touch the outside, the inside, lights up. Seek and scan stereo in digital. This is the first car that speaks to you.
Please turn off your lights.
Thanks, Maxima.
We are driven.
Maxima, the new Datsun for the luxury-minded who long to be Datsun driven.
There once was a man named Linus who needed a muffler from Midas. When lo and behold, his shocks broke in a hole. And then as fate would have it, his brakes had it. Then Linus needed more than a muffler from Midas. But he didn't despair. He knew brakes and shocks were there at a price that would be more than fair. The moral of this story is easy to recognize. For mufflers, brakes, and shocks, it pays to Midasize.
Seattle moving down the field, as Don mentioned, one of the sustained drives we've seen tonight. Oakland has really been staggering tonight. Surprisingly so. They're on a 5-game winning streak. Included in those 5 wins were victories over San Diego, over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're down 14-0 with 8:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Herrera will kick off. Ira Matthews and Art Whittington deep.
And the victory over the Seattle team in Oakland, 33-14.
Herrera This time, bangs it into the end zone, taken by Ira Matthews. Matthews met severely at the 17-yard line by Terry Reniker. Gets out to about the 18, and now we'll see if Oakland can generate something a little more than these drives that they have had thus far tonight.
Well, that represents their futility tonight. I don't think I have ever seen an Oakland team so futile on offense, and yet there are the 5 consecutive victories, the great play by Plunkett, which has not manifested itself tonight. Maybe Rozelle is right. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
Well, we know one thing. Pete wouldn't lie to us.
Actually, it was Bert Bell who said that.
No, but Pete adopted it.
1st and 10. Plunkett. Cliff Branch tries to get back in front of defender Keith Simpson. He could not do so. Incomplete.
Cliff Branch. He's been around for a while. Simpson was back there. You look at Plunkett. Cliff Branch is one of those guys that was one of the real speedsters that came in. Actually, the first Texas high school athlete to ever run a 9.300. Now, that's been a few years ago, but Cliff still is the kind of guy that brings in that blazing speed.
He is having a tremendous year, Don.
Yeah, came out of Houston, goes to Colorado, comes in here. He's been around for a number of years, but he does have that deep threat that you've got to respect.
2nd down, 10. That's Branch again, top of his game. Plunkett, King and King.
Oh, that's
bounces off. Dave Brown gets to the outside, out of bounds at the 24-yard line. They'll mark it at the 23.
You see the ferocity of the way this fired-up Seattle team is hitting. And I'll tell you flatly, I'm not a pass quarterback, but Plunkett made a mistake.
When?
He picked the wrong receiver. He had a man open. Yes, on this play, had a man open right. Look,
in the middle there.
Number 30.
Well, of course, Kenny's open too, and I think, you know, when you go to Van Egan has been there for a while, but you really want to try to get the ball to Kenny King because he does have that speed we've been talking about.
Except that he was double covered. There was a free safety was there to help out.
3rd down, 6. 3 wide receivers in for Oakland. Pressure on Plunkett, and he has to turn it loose, and he does so to Arthur Whittington. Whittington will be short of the 1st down. Bill Cook defensively was pressuring Plunkett. And the Seattle defender is slow to get up. Now on his feet, number 55, Michael Jackson, and the crowd roars their approval for their defensive unit.
I've been very impressed with the Seattle defense, which I was told and led to actually look at the stats. They haven't really been that effective all year, but they certainly are aggressive. I'll say that. They've been hitting a lot.
They've been 12th in their conference through 10 games.
And doing a good job tonight, too, Shake.
They are. Ray Guy to hit. Will Lewis settles in, and he settles in way back, close to his 25-yard line. Lots of respect for Ray Guy. Ray Guy, he'll run it out, and he'll get the first down easily. Turnabout is found on 4th down. Ray Guy out of bounds. He is all the way down to the 49-yard line of Seattle, and he shocked everyone.
We told you earlier, this guy is the 3rd-string quarterback. He's a great athlete. Look at it again, Don.
Well, Howard, look, I mean, this guy doesn't run like a kicker, doesn't run like a quarterback. He runs like a heck of a good athlete that can pick him up and put him down. He is a good athlete.
He sure is.
And I think this was designed all the way along. He was trying to get a little fake to the inside to get to the outside. So he said, look, we saw Herrera in the 1st half. Let me show you something here in the 2nd half. I got some moves, too.
Now it's a football game.
Plunkett on 1st down. Wide opens Chandler.
Oh, yeah.
And Plunkett picks out Chandler, and Chandler gets inside the 20-yard line of Seattle.
Very good throw, too.
Flag goes down. Late hit.
Must be against Michael Jackson. He's the guy that's doing the touchdown. Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson is really exercised. He's going to get a personal foul.
Plunkett threw a good ball that time. He had some time to throw. Looked him off to the left. Came to Chandler coming over the middle. Let's see if we can pick up what the personal foul was. They're calling it on Michael Jackson, who...
Defense, 55. Personal foul, 1st down.
Well, if you're going to do it, he didn't do it very badly, but they're still calling it for getting in there late.
Well, I thought it was a perfectly proper call. I said, now we'll see what Oakland is made of, and it was Seattle who scored. Now we'll see what Oakland is made of. Frank told it like it was. The game is far from over.
I think that was a questionable call myself.
Very definitely. He'll throw the football, Whittington will. If he can get behind this pickup here, will score.
He's got it. Look out.
Touchdown. Arthur Whittington was going out on the option to the right, circled back. It was almost like he was running on a punt, picked up a picket line of blockers into the end zone.
Well, the folks in Cuero, Texas will be happy tonight, and so will the old ponies of SMU. Now, they've worked on this play for weeks at a time. It's called a fake halfback option pass. Go to the right, stop, and run back to the left.
What a weird game.
Yeah, Chandler threw a really strong block right there to break him.
Now we're getting the scoring we expected in the beginning.
Go get him, Arthur.
Chris Barr on for the conversion. Barr putting the uprights, and Oakland is on the scoreboard, erasing their 0. 7:03 remaining in the third quarter as the youngster from SMU has put Oakland on the scoreboard. We'll be back. 14-7. Chris Barr to kick. Deep is Jesse Green. And Jesse Green will take it 1 yard in the end zone. And now Oakland appears to be fired up. Ray Guy running out of punt formation for a 24-yard pickup. Plunkett promptly hit Bob Chandler across the middle for another first down, a roughing penalty, and Arthur Whittington turned the corner, saw nothing going for the option pass, went back to the left into the end zone, and the Oakland Raiders are within 7.
How much of the Ray Guy run, in your view, Frank, was done by design? His ability to read the defense?
I think that's how he determines whether he's going to go or not. On 1st and 10. Zorn gets the screen off to the tight end, John Sawyer.
That was set up nicely.
Sawyer pulling ahead about a yard short of a first down. Mike Davis tripping him up.
That's terrific.
John Sawyer's had a good year for Seattle. He missed all of last season with a hamstring pull.
Yeah. He was with the Oilers. You'll remember he was with the Oilers, the kid from Baker, Louisiana. All of a sudden, the Oilers have other tight ends and a 2 tight end offense, and this kid's found a home here.
Is it Baker, Louisiana, or Mississippi? Where's he born from?
Louisiana.
Second down, less than a yard. And off to Jodat. Jodat has the first down after the 30-yard line. Jim Jodat having a big night on the ground for Seattle.
That's really a plus for an offensive unit when you can pick up 8 or 9 yards on a pass to be able to come back and let that offensive line say, look, we've got to have 2 or 3 yards. Let's go this first down. Give it to a guy like Joe Dat and let him push it out. That's awfully nice. That's how you keep those drives going. You don't have to depend that much on the pass.
1st and 10, 30-yard line. 5:30 remaining in the third quarter. Steve Largent, top of your screen, wide receiver for Jim Zorn. And Jodat drives it up the middle again, gets a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Seattle with a 4-6 record. They still do not, however, feel they're out of the AFC Western race, probably because so many of these divisional teams will meet in divisional games.
Frank, you and I were watching the Jack Patera show, and he explained that to the audience.
He had it all worked out.
Yeah, it's like the Seahawks have to play Oakland, they have to play San Diego, they have to play Denver, and he says, now, you know, really, all those statistics, if we beat all these people, they also have to play Dallas, that we can still win it. So he has it all figured out statistically. It still works.
2nd down and 8. You saw the futility of the offense for Seattle in the late going of games like I got a moment ago. Jodat makes a good move to the inside and gets another first down out over the 40-yard line. Nifty piece of running by Jim Jodat.
That's just a play. I really believe they're not going to run that often. I think they're running it specifically against this defense because they found a hole there. They're split very wide. They got Jodat set out in a fairly wide halfback position. They just hand it off to him straight away. Look at the split in this line. Matuzak goes to the inside, holes in there. So they're giving it to Joe Dat. You've got a one-on-one block on Rod Martin, and he let that running back, Joe Dat, take his hold. He's going to pick up some yardage.
Seattle being urged on by the partisan crowd. Some 64,000 here in the Kingdome in Seattle. And out it goes to John Sawyer, and they're going to say incomplete.
Did you see Cedric Hartman on the sideline pick up the fumble and start toward the goal? Attaboy, Cedric. Hey.
That, of course, the reference to the proposed move by the Oakland Raiders to Los Angeles. The Raiders have fallen off in attendance for the first time in 11 years. They've not been sold out. IRA fans, of course, in Oakland. There's even a threat of a demonstration for our Monday night game that we have there December 1st between Denver and Oakland. Fans calling for some of the fans to stay out of the stadium the first 5 minutes of that game. Second down 10. Zorn. Rabel comes down with it.
That's when you know you got it going. It's like last week on the tip pass to Mike Barber.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? When I see him throw with his left hand, it reminds me of the things that, you know, the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Now, this must mean, of course, that left-handed people are the only ones in their right mind.
No, that's the way Jerry Rome called the play.
Those left-handed folks are the only ones in their right mind. Trying to get it larger, and he missed him. Bounced up in the air. Actually, it right. That's Dwight Osteen there. Bounced up in the air. And fortunately for Seattle, we had Steve Rabel there in position.
First and 10, the ball at the 39-yard line of Oakland, and Joe Dat runs into a peck of trouble over the left side. Ball is bobbled. They're saying no, he was down. Ted Hendricks was in there initially, and Ted Hendricks, well, he just reads these plays so beautifully. Stepped across the line of scrimmage and turned Joe Dat back to the inside, and there is an injured Seattle Seahawk at the midfield.
Frank, it's a very similar defensive play we saw in the first half by Ted Hendricks. When they came in, they're just not blocking that play. That's a situation that I think when the plays come in from the sideline, this is where it can limit the quarterback a little bit. That play comes in. I don't think he's as likely to change that play as if he had called a play in a huddle and comes up and sees that defense. He missed that defense, and there's Bob Bucher again.
Dan Dornick, the injured Seattle Seahawk, will be back in a moment. The University of Washington in the evenings. Teammates, meanwhile, second down and 12. The ball at the 36-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. 14-7. The Seahawks over Oakland. Zorn, a lot of time, and he passes to Rabel right over the middle. Zorn had to use all of his 6'2" to be able to get that ball over the on-rushing Oakland Raiders.
Rabel had good position that time on Mike Davis on the inside. Mike couldn't do much but come over his shoulder and make the tackle, but Rabel worked his way inside, got between the defensive man and the quarterback, and it was drilled in there very effectively.
Close to the first down, and we'll have a measurement.
We've talked a lot as we await the measurement about Largent, about McCullum, but how about Rabel, Don?
Well, Rabel is doing well, but, you know, they got a first down there. He missed a couple of passes earlier in the ball game that I thought should have been caught. One of them was a little bit wide, then one of them hit him right in the middle. So he's the kind of guy, fifth year, as you see from Georgia Tech, who's a good a good offensive receiver, but he doesn't have that consistent eye-hand coordination that a guy like Largent does.
He had the big one on the deflection.
Well, you know, I didn't think about that. Maybe he does, come to think about it.
Ball inside the 29-yard line. First down and 10. McCullum adjusts at the bottom of your screen. And Larry Brinson, who has replaced Dornick, piles ahead for a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 8, and we have been informed that Dornick has suffered a possible hip pointer.
Look at those stats. Time of possession. Oakland has, relatively speaking, been without the football.
And they're only 7 points down.
That's right.
Saw a good shot that play before with Matt Millen, the young quarterback we've spoken of earlier tonight. He really is an enthusiastic fella coming in there from linebacker position, number 55.
Ball at the 27-yard line, marked there, so we'll call it 2nd down and 9. 4-man front for the Raiders. This is Brinson and the former Cowboy. It's inside the 21-yard line. Nifty gain by Brinson of about 7, taken there by Rod Martin. Short of the first down by a couple.
Big down, and Jack Patera knows it. Big down.
Going to be a granddaddy in January. I think that's terrific. He was with the original expansion team down there in Dallas. Played middle linebacker, had a knee injury that first year. Actually, one of the that was my introduction. When I saw him get his knee hurt, that was a tough one, and that thing really hurt.
3rd down, a long 2. Ball right at the 21-yard line. Jodat struggles close to a first down in the arms of Mike Davis.
He didn't get it. Oh, he got a good placement by the official.
I think it's still a little bit short, though, Howard. I think you're right. He didn't get it.
It'll be 4th down. And the measurement has been called for, but I do believe he is a few inches short of the first down. And Jack Patera is saying, hey, how much? They'll get a chance to think it over, make their decision while the yardsticks come out.
Well, Frank, I don't think Jack can pull any tricks this time because he can solidify this game with a field goal. Or close to do that. 4 seconds left in the quarter.
They'll start the clock.
Herrera is now coaching.
Well, when you're hot, you're hot.
Wants to know if he wants a square out or a zig in. They will not. Now they will have more time, as that is the end of the 3rd quarter. The score 14-7 Seattle. We'll return for the 4th quarter in just a moment. Stay with us. Those are the numbers on the year for Efren Herrera. 16 of 23.
He came to Southern California when he was 16 years old out of La Experiencia, Mexico, near Guadalajara, and attended La Puente High School in La Puente, California.
That was 3 years ago. He had the run-in with Dallas management, and that's when he came to the Seattle Seahawks, and he's been a favorite ever since. Keep in mind, Zorn is the holder. I doubt if we'll see any trickery at this point as we begin the 4th quarter.
That's what I said the time before. Yes, sir.
And Herrera picks up a few more votes.
On the other hand, they may have wasted him as a wide receiver.
Again, college football coming your way. 12 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be a doubleheader. The first game, of course, regional. Check your local listing for the game in your area. Michigan, Ohio State, the Rose Bowl on the line. Oklahoma, Nebraska, the Orange Bowl on the line. Yale at Harvard, a lot of pride and a lot of prestige. A win by Yale, and they win the Ivy League. And then game number 2. A long-time meeting between two rivals, USC and UCLA. The Trojans of USC battle the UCLA Bruins in one of college football's great old rivalries. And again, I'd like to remind all of you that the Yale-Harvard game, for those of you planning to attend that game, it will begin at 12:35.
I wish I could be there, Frank. I'm worried about Harvard. They've got their quarterback back. There are the 3rd quarter stats. And still, Seattle retains its dominance, though Oakland briefly did explode for a touchdown. The score 17-7. Total yardage, no comparison. Yards passing, and that's the key to the game. It has not been an effective night for Jim Plunkett.
Again, we'll remind you, 3 of the 5 games Seattle has lost here in the Kingdome this year. They have led in the 4th quarter. Deep, Ira Matthews, 43. Art Whittington, who returned 190 yards a week ago against Cincinnati. And Herrera will kick off. Getting a lot of airtime.
Yes, sir. Well, that's meditation.
No, he knows when we're in a close-up. Ira Matthews will bring it out. Matthews dancing down the sideline, stays in bounds out to the 27-yard line.
Boy, you see some hard licks on those kick return teams, don't you? Those guys coming down full speed, they just bang each other around. Thankfully, I never was a good enough athlete to make those teams.
Few no-shows tonight. The television blackout lifted in the northwestern area. I'll get it all out in a moment.
It was the Northeast and the Northwest.
60,480, however, have turned out. They have been loud in support of their Seattle Seahawks. 1st and 10. Plunkett on first down to the air. Plunkett going for Branch. And Dave Brown comes up with it. Interception, his 6th of the season. Of course, Dave Brown, one of only 3 players on Seattle from the veteran allocation in '76. He started every game Seattle's ever played.
Don't care how fast Cliff Branch is. He didn't beat Dave Brown. The ball was thrown a long way, but Cliff Branch was never open. Brown had him all the way, had good position inside, made a good interception.
And Seattle will have the football when we come back at their own 28-yard line. Jim Plunkett on the bench, being reassured everything's going to be all right. We have plenty of time. We'll get it back for you, but it was a pass that, forget it, ill-advisedly thrown. Dave Brown, great position on Branch all the way. Seattle comes up with the football, 1st and 10, their own 28-yard line. 14:38 remaining in this game. Sargent in motion. Play action by Zorn. Zorn going deep for McCullum. And good defensive play back there was Mike Davis, right with McCullum all the way.
You want the key to this game. Forget penalties that we've talked about. They have not sacked Jim Zorn tonight. When Oakland crushed Seattle in Oakland, they sacked him 5 times.
McCullum, I think, thought he was interfered with by Dwayne Osteen. Let's see if we can see it. I don't think he was. Dwayne was going for the ball.
Both of them playing the ball. You're exactly right.
Sure did. Kind of an unusual call both times. We saw Plunkett come out on a first down and go deep. He was intercepted. Zorn comes right back, goes back with a similar sort of pass, trying to get deep. Incomplete.
That'll give you an idea of Jerry Rome's philosophy of football. Don't sit on it. 17-7 lead. Let's go out and get more. Jerry Rome, of course, calling the plays that are signaled into Jim Zorn.
I accuse Rome of doing that because he did get to call his own plays in Dallas.
2nd down 10. Larry Brinson. And Brinson to the 33-yard line. Gain of about 5. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Hendricks defensively once again with Matt Millen.
Frank, you called Plunkett's interception by Brown an ill-advised pass, and you put it too gently. Dave Brown is, you did, because Dave Brown has missed his stability in that defensive secondary, and he's proved it, never missing a game since he joined Seattle. He had been a first-round draft choice of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They found no place from there because they were loaded with people. With Seattle, he's played up to the reason he was drafted first.
Raiders up tight defensively on 3rd down and 5. Zorn trying to change things off. He'll have to use a time. Time has expired, and quickly before it does, Zorn calls timeout. So Zorn will drop over to the sidelines, chat with Jack Patera, have a word on the phone, perhaps with Jerry Rome once again. 13:42 remaining in the game. Jim Zorn, who was sacked, as we've said, 5 times in the previous Oakland game. Threw 5 interceptions a week ago, under fire up here, and they love this boy. And I'll tell you, he is really quite a kid. He's really got his heart into the community and active in so many charitable events. And one of them, of course, is SIDS SIDS. And that, of course, sudden infant death syndrome. And he's been very active in it. And I bring that up because this Saturday night, Howard will be in Baltimore for the University of Maryland, the Baltimore Convention Center, where they are putting on quite an affair, not only to bring people aware of what SIDS is all about, sudden infant death syndrome, but also to get people aware that something can be done. More money should be brought in for research. And this man right here, very active in the northwest part of the United States, Jim Zorn.
There's Dan Pastorini again. And thank you for mentioning that, Frank, because Jim Zorn and all of the people like him in the world are so terribly important to us. There's no way never get over the death of a child.
Third down 5. Ball at Seattle's 33-yard line. Oakland moves up tight again defensively. Here comes the blitz. And Zorn is sacked for the first time tonight at the 26-yard line.
And the big time to do it.
They picked a good time. They actually moved that whole offensive line back there to set up where Zorn was. I guess the charge would be led by Matuzak. He was the guy that had Zorn around the ankle. And he got a lot of help from his friends.
Willie Jones also in there, the second-year man out of Florida State. Underfoot Weaver. Hiram Matthews is deep for the Oakland Raiders. And Matthews would like to get a good run back here, get Oakland in good field position. They have been tentative tonight, but they can strike very quickly, as we have seen their past 5 victories over the past 5 weeks. Here comes Matthews. And Matthews to the 37-yard line. 46-yard punt by Herman Weaver. Hustling down there, Ron Essing. 13 minutes remaining in this game, and Seattle will be back in a moment.
Sony introduces the art of what...
On first down, this is Kenny King. And King chased out of bounds by the pursuing defense. He might have got a half a yard. Michael Jackson with that great speed and mobility sliding out there to force King out of bounds. Kenny King, coveted by the Raiders in the draft 2 years ago, but they didn't have a third-round draft pick, went to Houston in this past offseason. The Raiders finally came up with Kenny King when they sent Jack Tatum and a pair of 7th-round draft picks to the Houston Oilers, who had only run Kenny King 3 times last year. He's over 600 yards thus far this year for Oakland. 2nd and 10. Plunkett hesitates, and Manu Tuiasosopo was there defensively. There'll be a yard loss.
Manu really did close in there in a hurry, didn't he? That was good pursuit by... I want to try to say it. No, I don't think I will.
Manu Tuiasosopo.
Manu Tuiasosopo.
First-round draft pick a year ago from UCLA, and along with Robert Hardy, a 10th-round draft pick, they have started every game last year, and this their 11th start of this season. 3rd down 12. Ball marked inside the 35-yard line. Seahawks coming to life. Good protection. Plunkett trying to go to Chandler, incomplete.
Good pressure that time, Frank, by Robert Hardy, number 75, and Manu was again in the area. Good pressure. Jim just tried to force that ball, threw it off the line, and forces a 4th down.
Listen to this crowd. This adulation for a team that's 4-6 on the season. Will Lewis has dropped deep to await the kick of Ray Guy, and I mean Lewis is very deep. And Guy bangs off another beauty. Lewis inside his own 20. And good coverage by the Raiders, and Lewis gets out to the 21-yard line. A 48-yard punt thus far on Ray Guy, who has been having a tremendous night for Oakland. We'll be back in a moment.
He won that competition, which was a surprise to everybody, I think, except to Jennings. He said, I knew he had it all the way.
2nd and 7. 2 tight ends are in. 81 is Sawyer, 82 is Mark Bell. Zorn puts it up in the air. And incomplete, intended for Sawyer. Sawyer picked up, covered by Burgess Owens, also dropping deep.
Another one of those big downs, Frank. Seattle must keep possession of the ball if Oakland is not to have at least an opportunity to get back into the game.
The Kingdom shot the top of the ceiling some 250 feet above the playing surface. As I said earlier, not a lot of frills, but certainly a very practical facility. And it does rain up here occasionally. Third down, 7. Zorn directing traffic. And off is to McCutcheon.
That's almost one of those things. He's kidding me. Telling the guy where to line up. Look, and I'm going to give you the ball, and you're going to run straight ahead. That's almost a trick.
Is there something I said? Fourth down, and Seattle will have to turn it over. Out comes Herman Weaver.
Didn't think they'd do that.
Well, they're surprising us tonight, aren't they?
There is Ira Matthews. As I said, has really not lived up to his great college senior year when he averaged almost 7 yards on punt returns for Wisconsin, leading the nation. Weaver, he's in trouble. And it's blocked.
There you go.
It was Ted Hendricks who made the block. And there's a scramble in the end zone. No.
They lucked out with
safety. They got away with the safety as deep as Seattle could get away. It looked like it was going to be 6, but there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they did luck out, because that could have been a touchdown very easily.
They really did. And once again, the big play, Ted Hendricks.
Ineligible receiver, downfield on the punt, refused, safety.
2 points racked up for the Oakland Raiders, and they'll get the football back on the free kick from the 20.
Well, now, it was not a bad snap. You think he's trying to play games? He saw Ray Guy do his number, Herrera do his number.
It was Lester Hayes pressuring Weaver and Ted Hendricks with the block. And I don't have the exact numbers, but Hendricks over the years has probably blocked more punts and field goals than any other active linebacker in the game today.
I think actually he has, Frank. I don't have the numbers either, but it seems like I read that somewhere. And at 6'7", you're not going to be too surprised, because he does have the long arms to get up there and do it.
Tell you another thing about him. He's played in 169 consecutive games. Durable, a brilliant diagnostician on the field. He's been all over the field tonight, having just another superb year for Oakland.
He was a defensive end at the University of Miami in Florida. Baltimore drafted him, translated him into a linebacker. He was the defensive player of the year when the Baltimore Colts won the Super Bowl 16-13 over the Dallas Cowboys. He is a great veteran. He's got a nose for the football. He's got a reach that goes to the sky. He makes the big plays.
6'7", Ted Hendricks. Went off to Green Bay for a couple of years before coming to Oakland in '75. And Herman Weaver will put it into play from his own 20-yard line. Ira Matthews and Keith Moody have dropped for the Oakland Raiders. Well, it had to happen. We have had all kinds of action on 4th down here tonight. This one backfires against Seattle. A flag is down as the Seattle Seahawks appeared to be offside. Keith Moody. Again, the flag is down back at the 20-yard line. They mark the ball until they can talk it over and see whether or not Oakland would like to try another run back, and I'm sure they will.
Frank, as we look back at that play, I think Hendricks would have had the football for a touchdown.
Kicking team, offside, 5-yard penalty, free kick.
But just at that moment, a Seattle body came hurtling in, and that moved the football away. Wasn't that number 86 back in the game?
It could well have been.
Happy birthday, Thunderfoot.
I just thought it was Jacob Green back in the game at the most precisely right moment.
I would say that's true tonight, wouldn't
I like
you?
that.
Yeah, it's not a job, it's an adventure.
Herman Weaver now will kick. This time he has to get it off inside the 15-yard line. Again, deep, Keith Moody and Ira Matthews. 10:18 remaining in the game. Score is now 17-9 to Seahawks. Keith Moody.
Got some open.
And Moody spins his way out over the 40-yard line. Oakland once again good field position. And a touchdown, however, will not do it. Had they been able to recover that football in the end zone, it would have been a little different story, at least in terms of offensive strategy for the Oakland Raiders.
You got to think that's an omen of some sort, since we've mentioned several times tonight Oakland has lost several games this year in the last quarter, and they have not won here in the Kingdome all year.
Seattle.
What did I say?
Oh.
Well,
they've never
had a
won
50-50 chance.
First down. Bucket to the air on first. Going for Ramsey, and off his fingertips.
I think Plunkett thought that was a well-thrown ball. And it did look well thrown. It seemed to me that when Ramsey was running, he just somehow misjudged it a little bit. Didn't get his hands up there. You can see Plunkett back there. He got good protection this time. Set. Made a good throw.
You know, we have seen a
little bit overthrown.
Looking for down on the bench. Raymond Chester appears to be all right. That he has seen very little action here in the second half.
That's a good point. I don't understand that.
He, of course, a great year a year ago. They kept him, sent Casper to Houston, and he's out of the game. Flags are down. Plunkett just bombing away. This time it's complete, and that's Derek Ramsey.
And he's got himself almost a touchdown. They will not take that offside.
Oh, they sure won't. And now you see in action why they traded David Casper. As great as David is, they've got Chester, they've got Ramsey, they believe in young Todd Christensen.
Oftentimes you see this happen. The defense knows they've committed a foul. They know there's going to be a penalty. There's just a slight hesitation. The ball is well thrown, but man, he is wide open down there. Who in the world is supposed to cover him? It's certainly not going to be that linebacker. That's Michael Jackson. It's not going to be Jackson who's going to cover him all the way. Or maybe it is. If it is, Jackson sure could keep up with it.
Oftentimes, double coverage on both outside men will result in a linebacker trying to go all the way with the tight end. But Derek Ramsey, we talked about him earlier, has very fine speed, as does the other tight end, Raymond Chester. Got ourselves a football game. Van Egan. No.
No, I don't think even the second effort got it for him.
Only thing you can save him down here is a fumble. And Tom Flory says just punch it in. Don't fumble.
9:30 and the clock is moving, remaining in the game. Jim Plunkett not having a good night, but staying in there. Keeps hammering away and finally got Ramsey to the one. Van Egan. No. Crowd will go bananas over this.
Thought he was going to bounce out to the outside and score. Good defensive play from that defensive left side.
You can almost see Van Egan. Who are those guys?
Less than 9 minutes left now. The clock begins to work.
17-9. Seahawks in the lead.
3 setbacks in now. Kenny King, Mark Van Egan, and Derek Jensen. That's Jensen. He'll adjust into a wingback spot. They should go right. Touchdown. Yep. Van Egan. And the Raiders get in from the one on their third effort. A conversion away from a 1-point lead now. And Seattle fans have seen this so often. Off to a great start. A game it looked like they could almost run away with, and now all of a sudden they're in a dogfight.
One gets the feeling that if all games were 55 minutes, Seattle would predominate in the entire league. Once the late Rocky Marciano told me, Don, if all fights were 50 rounds, watch this.
This bar brings it to within 1. And we have 8:30 remaining in the game. We'll be back. Denver is breathing down them with a 6-5 record. Kansas City at 5-6. Seattle thinks that if they can win tonight and win the rest of their games, that they'll be in the hunt. Jesse Green for Seattle. And Green spinning out to the 20-yard line. Todd Christensen, another tight end who does a lot of things for the Oakland Raiders down there on the stop.
Jesse Green, another Tulsa ex. Young fellow out of Dallas, Texas. Got a lot of speed.
It was Jesse Green who knocked the football away from Hendricks and prevented the touchdown. In the meantime, I was saying the late Rocky Marciano once told me that if all fights were 50 rounds, George Chuvalo would have been the greatest fighter ever lived.
First down, 10 Seattle. Slim 1-point margin. Lawrence McCutcheon comes up with the ball. Good catch. That was behind him. He had to spin around and get it, and he gets out over the 35, close to the 37, beating Rod Martin.
I'm going to guess there was a Rod Martin. Let's take another look at it. You see McCutcheon coming from his fullback position out to that flat. It's kind of an unusual pattern. Usually those backs are set over the halfback position. It was a little bit behind it. Number 53, Rod Martin, was the guy that came back to try to make that. Or was that Keith Moody, I think, was in there also. No, Mike Davis.
Seattle got Lawrence McCutcheon on waivers from Denver 3 weeks ago. First and 10. The clock stopped at 8:14 remaining in the game. Zorn rifles it out to Largent. And Zorn very carefully had to thread that ball to Largent because the looming hulk of Ted Hendricks was right there.
He really was, wasn't he, Frank? He was right in the middle, and Lester Hayes had him pretty well covered from the outside. The ball was perfectly thrown. Take another look at it. Quick little fake to McCutcheon in the middle. Sets, looks downfield, comes back to the outside. There's Hendricks, number 83. Hayes, number 37, and Largent was in the middle to pick up that reception.
Yeah, but don't you have to admire the audacity of Rome's signal calling? Nothing defensive in the play of the Seattle team.
They certainly moved the ball well tonight. They just haven't put up a whole lot of points.
First and 10, 47-yard line for Seattle. This is McCutcheon, and McCutcheon barrels to the 48-yard line. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. And we want to remind you tonight, right after your late local news, ABC News Nightline explores a murder trial in which an all-white jury in Greensboro, North Carolina, today found 4 members of the Ku Klux Klan and 2 members of the American Nazi Party not guilty of murder and rioting charges resulting from the deaths of 5 members of the Communist Party over a year ago. Nightline looks at the lengthiest murder trial in North Carolina history immediately following your late local news over most of these ABC stations. Second down, 6. Here comes Larry Brinson. And Seattle showing a lot of style. They come roaring back. Brinson to the 28-yard line. First down, Seattle. Burgess Owens made the stop.
And if Burgess Owens hasn't been there, Brinson could have gone all the way. You see a little cutback against the green. Matuzak was late getting there. Good move to the outside. There's Owens, number 44. Brings it down. He had a good head of steam, Larry Brinson.
Brinson, again, a former Cowboy, and he was with the Cowboys for 3 years and only had run for 172 yards during those 3 years.
They've already got field goal position.
Largent in motion on first down. Brinson again holding on to that football. As he gets back close to the line of scrimmage, he might lose a half a yard.
Good move by Rod Martin that time, number 53, coming into the linebacker position. He was playing over a block of the left tackle, number 72, Lewis Bullard, but he at least slowed him down so he could get some help from his friends on the inside.
Seattle has now had 39 rushing plays. Every time they have had 40 rushing plays in a game. This is their history. They have won the football game.
Second down, a little more than 10 to go for the first, and the seconds are ticking off the clock. We're inside 5.5 minutes remaining. Quick handoff to McCutcheon. Tries to slip through. That's the simple play where they pull the guard and hope that the tackle will follow him. He did not. Ted Hendricks slid over to make the stop. A gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
It's a fairly interesting statistic you're talking about that, Howard. They've won every game in which they've rushed 40 times or gained 200 yards rushing.
Third down and about 9, maybe a little more than 9. Lawrence McCutcheon single setback, 4 wide receivers for Seattle. And Oakland has tended to blitz on this situation. And here they come. Zorn picked off Lester Hayes. His 9th interception of the year.
Lester.
That ball was deflected, I believe, and Hayes was there.
But it was the one mistake, Frank, that Seattle could not afford. It's what they've been doing in the late minutes of every game, because now a field goal can win it for Oakland.
He did get the blitz, and here's the thing he's been criticized most for. I don't think he saw Lester Hayes out of Houston and Texas A&M. I think he didn't see him coming from the other side. Hendricks could have touched it a little bit.
I thought he did.
Maybe he did.
I'll tell you one thing, Lester Hayes, the kind of season he's having, that's his 16th interception in less than 2 years. He is right up there with the best in football today. 39-yard line. The Oakland Raiders down by 1. 4:20 remaining in the game. First down. Inside handoff. Mark Van Egan piled up line of scrimmage, and the crowd is exhorting the defensive unit.
Well, now the one thing Plunkett can't afford is a mistake.
That's Robert Hardy, defensive tackle. Let's go back and look at that play and see if Hendricks got a paw on it.
I thought he did.
Well, it's hard to tell, but no matter if he did touch it a little bit.
Yes, he did.
Did touch it a little bit. However, I think had Hayes not been there, it could have been complete. Hayes just happened to be in a position to come through from defensive standpoint to pick that one off.
If Oakland should win, I give the game ball to Ted Hendricks.
Hardy got off the field limping. Defensively, Bill Cook is in there for Hardy. Second down, 10. Plunkett wants to go to the air. Eric Ramsey was down there, dueling with Kerry Justin, incomplete.
There's Lester Hayes. I don't understand that call, Don. You don't need that kind of yardage. All they have to do is get the field goal position.
Well, you can think, back a little while ago, though, Howard, when we were sitting in here and he comes to Derek Ramsey down the middle with that deep goal. I think the thing that Plunkett does have, and this is supposedly with the reason behind getting past Trini, he wanted that real strong
long ball.
Yeah, and Plunkett can throw a pretty long ball.
Third down, 10. Less than 4 minutes remaining in the game. Oakland has the football, their own 39-yard line. They need to pick up the first down.
Awfully big play right here.
Plunkett can run for it. He slips, drops the ball. Oakland, I believe, is there, but it'll be short of the first down.
Yeah, but they gotta go for it, Giffer. They gotta go for it.
You hate to see Plunkett drop the ball. He had the opening and probably had a first down.
That's right.
It's almost embarrassing. I hate to see quarterbacks do that. You know, he doesn't speak well of the trade.
Nor did he get good placement from the officials on the football, so they got a couple of yards to go.
A little more than a couple, then it'll be fourth down.
He just stumbled, fumbled, and fell right there.
This is what you call your basic character builder, this play.
Showtime right here in the Kingdome.
4th and 3. Seconds ticking away. 3 minutes remaining in the game. Roll out. Plunkett, first down.
He got it.
And he held it.
He said, I learned something on that last run. We tucked the ball in a little closer to you. That was a character builder, wasn't it?
He had fumbled 3 times during the course of the game.
Now, as the seconds tick off, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Oakland has 3 timeouts remaining. They also have a very strong-legged place kicker in Chris Barr. He had 2 over 50 yards last year with Cincinnati, so he can reach it if you get the ball inside the 40. First and 10. Plunkett, Branch, stepping out of bounds, killing the clock, and also picking up 8 yards in doing so. Clock stopped, 2:08. And we're going to quickly pause 5 seconds. If you can quickly pause 5 seconds and allow your stations to identify yourselves.
You're watching KOMO TV for Seattle.
Cliff Branch, his first reception of the night with a gain of 8 yards as Oakland moves inexorably closer to field goal range for Chris Barr. Oakland down by 1. Again, a win tonight. And they stay 1 game ahead of the San Diego Chargers in the AFC West. Plunkett fires a dangerous pass out to Bob Chandler. Covering was Kerry Justin.
Chandler has been kind of a new threat for them. He's a guy that's kind of come back home to the Bay Area. He's a student in law school, night school.
He just ate Seattle up individually in the first game they played, and Seattle, or rather Oakland, beat them down in Oakland. He had 3 touchdown passes in that game.
He didn't have to pass on that play. He's got enough time. He only needs a yard for the first down. He could have run for the first down.
Heading towards a 2-minute warning. 2:04 remaining in the game. Rams in motion. Whittington gets to the outside. Kills the clock at the 36-yard line.
That's what I mean.
First and we'll get the 2-minute warning.
After watching Bradshaw with Swan yesterday and the way they use the clock, Oakland has all the time in the world. They just don't have to make a mistake. We'll be back in a moment.
Now, 4-wheel drive gives you the luxury to go anywhere.
4x4 by Datsun.
Introducing the 1981 Datsun King Cab. Off-road, its new Napsy engine gives you more power than last year. And with exclusive reclining buckets, optional jump seats, and a sporty 5-speed stick, this King Cab takes on the city in high style.
Datsun 4-wheel driven.
It's probably no surprise that most automobile accidents are caused by careless drivers. A reckless few who push up.
Man sweats more than a woman. That's why a man needs...
The story, it was not an artistic success for the Oakland Raiders, and of course it's not over. 56 seconds remain on the clock, and Seattle will have 1 timeout to work with. Deep is Jesse Green, but it's the kind of a game that a super football team will win when they're playing poorly. And down goes Jesse Green at the 17-yard line. Keith Moody hustling down there for the Oakland Raiders. And now let's see what Jim Dorn can come up with for the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, let me say,
he has come up with a lot of things over his short term in the NFL.
Excuse me, Frank, you just made a statement that is the whole story if Oakland hangs on to win. Because you prove yourself a good team when you win, when you play poorly. And that's the way the score stands now, and Oakland has not played its game.
We, of course, will see Oakland again December the 1st in Oakland against Denver. Lawrence McCutcheon, the single setback. Of course, the 4 wide receivers are in. McCutcheon, he'll try to get out inside. And a flag goes down as McCutcheon steps out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
They're going to call clipping, I think, that time.
It seems so, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they got Sam McCullum that time, it looked like. That's a good point, Frank. I think it's the mark of any champion. We saw Pittsburgh do it yesterday against Cleveland. We're seeing Oakland come back. They did not play well. Statistically, they've really lost this game, but they are ahead of the score. And we saw a mistake right there that's going to throw them back. You also, another thing, on that kickoff return, you see a team come down. Anytime you can hold a team inside the 20. Here's a clip by McCullum. Oh. It was not a hard clip, I will say that. So the guy, he might have had his hand close to his pocket where the yellow flag was, but
Personal foul, clipping, number 86.
Sure, it's easy for you to say.
That was intended to clip.
Yeah, that's right. Intent.
First down, 16. 46 seconds. Dorn, a lot of time. McCutcheon dribbles it at the 15, incomplete.
What do you go back to Zorn's interception to Lester Hayes. Possibly it was tipped
Key
by
mistake.
Hendricks, and it was a key mistake. One of the things that Jim is coming under a great deal of criticism here. He had 5 interceptions a week ago. He had gone 4 games without any. You see a quarterback and you measure his success after he's been in the league for a while, I think, by his ratio of number of interceptions to touchdown passes. He does not have as many touchdowns as he does interceptions.
Which is a telling statistic.
I think it is.
It really is.
Neither does Plunkett, as a matter of fact.
Second down, 16.
Look out.
Largent was the intended receiver. It was deflected, I believe, by Rod Martin. Almost taken there on the interception by Burgess Owens. Third down, 16.
I got to tell you, Don, if we have to go down there and select who gets the game ball, I go for Hendricks.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. I think possibly you would have given it to him had he won or had he lost.
You might have to go for Ted Hendricks every week.
But he really is.
He's
Frank.
like 3 people out there.
He's the kind of guy that really does seem to make the big play in a lot of different ways. He was also the guy that blocked the punt.
That's right. Third down, 16. Burgess Owens is way back at the 40-yard lines. Playing center field. Will go down. John Matuzak pulling in there along with Cedric Hardman. And, of course, Willie Jones, the sack pack, if you will. And they've got Zorn all the way back at the 2-yard line.
And these Seahawks
have fourth down.
Yet to win one here in the Kingdom.
Apparently so. 32 seconds left. 1 timeout left.
4th down and 20. Let's see. No, more than that. 4th down and almost
26.
Yeah. See there? That's
well,
what you say.
This is where you let the quarterback call his own play.
That's right.
Pull it out, Jim. And almost picked off out there by Lester Hayes. And that should do it. 8 seconds.
So it is over, and we have found out.
And the clock is stopped on change of possession, so we'll have to have another play run on the field.
Well, we found out what Oakland's made of, Mr. Gifford.
I've said it ever since we saw them. Actually, I saw them on television when they beat up on San Diego in Oakland, and all of a sudden this team with people from, well, left field, if you will, all of a sudden came together as a cohesive group, and they're going to be tough to hit.
Well, they really did not play a good football game, but they won it, and I think that's a real key, too, because they are going to play better than this as you go down the line. Here they are again, still on top of the AFC West. One game ahead of San Diego.
Well, what a disappointment, too, for Jack Patera. He's under fire up here a little bit, and I think unrightfully so. This is only the 4th year of this franchise, and he has the best expansion, or rather 5th year of the franchise. He has the best expansion record ever in the league. Young team. And he's a solid coach. Sure is. Derek Jensen in motion. Whittington heads for the end zone. And that will be it. And the Oakland Raiders come from well back to defeat the Seattle Seahawks 19-17. And the Oakland Raiders have now won 6 straight. Seattle has lost 4 straight. We'll be back.
Band at one time. They're pointing out blockers. Will Lewis excites the crowd as he takes it back down to the 32-yard line of the Seahawks. Put it into play. 1st and 10. Seahawks 11:29 to go in this game. They're up by 4. David Craig, the quarterback. Handoff into the line of scrimmage, and flags come down like Monday wash. As Tony Benjamin carried but got hung up at the line of scrimmage for not very much in the way of yardage, and the flags will have to take a look and see. Buddy Curry, who's playing a lot of linebacker. Matter of fact, he's playing ahead of Tony Dakin tonight, the veteran out of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, where have I heard that?
Oh, yeah.
D. Sims.
Hey, Wayne, you know, we was talking about special team and speaking about Will Lewis. That just goes to show you the more things that you can do, the better your chances are of making this team.
That's right.
He's playing defensive back and he's running back punts. It's looking good. Same way with Cornell. Cornell is a valuable player on special teams, and he's shown it.
Robert's rules of order look like they're in force as the referees meet at the 30-yard line.
Face mask, number 69 on the defense. Dale.
Face mask violation. They're going to replay the down again. That's the second time in a few minutes. Face mask against one team, something against the Seahawks. I thought it was motion. And so they're going to replay the down again. That's the second time we've seen it. So it'll be 1st and 10 still on the 32.
Going along with what David said, making a football team is one of two things. You're a super athlete, you're a super catcher, you're a super runner, a great blocker, or you can do a lot of things well. And pro football, the more things you can do is better.
Up, we got 3 penalty flags come down as Craig started the play. So we had a little motion, a little offside from somewhere. So things getting a little sloppy, but you get a mixture of rookies and veterans in after only, say, 3 weeks of camp. And you're going to get some mistakes like that. Now we'll see what this call will be.
I think that's on Papa Fig, Bob Newton.
Think it's on Fig?
Yes.
Papa Fig got mad the other day.
Illegal motion, number 78, the offense, refused, 2nd down.
Good call, gentlemen. It was Bob Newton, who stormed out of camp. You know, and just last week, I think it was Sunday, he got mad for a few minutes at Howard Mudd, and it's all straightened out now. And Howard said, I respect Bob, and Bob says, I respect Howard, and I was just mad, wanted to be alone. And Bob's had a tough time in rehabilitation.